Have you ever felt like a rower, fighting a relentless and invisible current? Your muscles burn, your sinews strain, the wood of the oars feels rough and splintered against your palms. You are focused on a distant shore, a destination you have decided is the only one worth reaching, and so you pull and pull and pull. But the shore never seems to get closer. The effort you expend is immense, a heroic struggle against the water, yet your progress is negligible. There is a deep, wearying frustration in this fight, a growing sense that the river itself is an adversary, its power infinite, your own strength draining with every desperate stroke. This is not just the plight of a rower in a boat. This is the silent condition of a modern soul. This is the exhaustion you feel at the end of a day, a week, a year of pushing, forcing, and controlling. We are taught that this is noble. We are taught to write a detailed script for our lives, and then to exhaust ourselves forcing reality to follow it. We build architectures of anxiety, planning every detail, worrying about every deviation, treating the unexpected not as a visitor, but as an invader. We fight the natural flow of events. We resist the subtle guidance of our own intuition. We treat life not as a dance, but as a battle to be won. And we are so tired. The weariness is not in our bones, but in our spirit. It is the deep fatigue that comes from constantly resisting the very essence of life itself. But what if the struggle is the core misunderstanding? What if the fight is a choice and not a law of nature? Take a breath. In the space between your thoughts, ask yourself this question. What if the point was never to conquer the river? What if the point was simply to understand its current, to feel its direction, and to let it carry you? What if true power is not in the stroke of the oar, but in the courage to let it go? This is an invitation to do just that, to lay down the oars, to feel the tension release from your shoulders and your jaw, to allow the boat to turn and drift. For the first time, you are not fighting the water, you are feeling it, you are listening to it, you are becoming a part of its ancient, effortless journey. This is not defeat. This is not giving up. This is the beginning of true alignment. This is the moment you stop trying to impose your will upon the universe and instead create a space for the universe to work through you. And so, you have laid the oars down. In the sudden quiet, as the boat finds its own rhythm with the water, a new sound arises. It is not a sound from the river, but from within you. It is a voice, sharp and insistent, the voice of the master controller, the architect of your struggle. It screams in protest. It warns of disaster. It tells you that this stillness is recklessness, that this surrender is a fatal mistake. It demands that you pick up the oars immediately and resume the fight. This voice, this frantic energy, is the first guardian at the gate. It is the very embodiment of the illusion of control. We must look at this illusion directly, without judgment, as a scientist examines a force of nature. This need to control is not a character flaw. It is the primary survival mechanism of the ego, the construct of self that you believe yourself to be. The ego lives in a state of perpetual insecurity. It is a ghost, fashioned from memories, beliefs, and future projections. It has no real substance, and it knows this on a deep, unconscious level. Its greatest fear is dissolution, the terror of non-existence. And so, to fortify itself, to feel real, it must assert its power. It must manage, organize, predict, and manipulate the world around it. It builds a fortress of routines, expectations, and rigid plans, believing that within these walls, it can be safe from the unpredictable, untamable wilderness of life. For a time, this fortress seems to serve you. It provides a sense of order in a world of chaos. But slowly, without you even noticing, the walls of the fortress become the bars of a prison. The life you are trying to protect becomes a life you are afraid to live. you begin to fear spontaneity. An unexpected phone call sends a jolt of anxiety through your system. A change in plans feels like a personal attack. You find yourself trying to control things that are profoundly, beautifully, and fundamentally uncontrollable. You try to control the feelings of others, composing silent arguments in your mind to make them see your point of view. You try to control the future, playing out 1,000 different scenarios, attempting to build a dam against every possible misfortune. You try to control your own body, frustrated with its natural cycles of energy, its need for rest, its inevitable aging. This is the meaning of the clenched fist. Imagine you are holding a handful of fine, dry sand. Your ego, your inner controller, tells you that this sand is precious, that you must not lose a single grain. And so, in its panic, it squeezes. Your fingers tighten, your knuckles turn white. You apply all your strength to secure the sand. But what happens? The harder you squeeze, the more the sand escapes, trickling through the gaps between your fingers, slipping away with an infuriating ease. The very act of trying to secure it is what causes you to lose it. The energy you expend is immense, yet the result is the opposite of your intention. This is the perfect metaphor for a life lived under the illusion of control. Your desperate attempt to manage every outcome, to secure a specific future, is the very reason peace and flow continuously escape you. The tension you feel is not life happening to you. It is the friction between your clenched mind and a reality that wants only to be fluid. Listen to the conflict raging within you. There is a part of you, a deep, ancient wisdom that yearns for the open palm. It has felt glimpses of it before, in moments of grace. A moment you were lost in creating something, a moment you laughed so hard you forgot to worry, a moment in nature where your own small plans seemed utterly insignificant next to the majesty of a mountain or an ocean. This part of you knows that trust is possible. It longs for the peace that comes from floating, from responding to life rather than trying to dictate it. But the controller, the ego, is so much louder. Its arguments are so convincing because they are rooted in fear, the most primal of emotions. If I don't worry about this, it will fall apart. It insists. If I don't push, nothing will ever happen. Relaxing is a luxury for other people. My situation is different. It is more precarious. It presents you with an endless parade of worst-case scenarios, dressing them up as foresight and responsibility. It convinces you that the tension in your shoulders is the price of success, that the anxiety in your gut is a sign that you are being vigilant. But now, in the stillness of your boat, you can see this for what it is. It is a program. It is a habit of the mind, repeated so many times that it feels like an inseparable part of you. But it is not you. You are the awareness that is noticing the program. And because you can notice it, you can begin to change it. The core message, the first light that pierces through this illusion, is this. True power is not the force that clenches. True power is the courage that opens. It is the recognition that you are not the lonely, struggling rower. You are a part of the river. The same intelligence that spins the galaxies, that guides the salmon upstream, that unfurls a fern in the forest, is the intelligence that flows through you. Your frantic planning is like a single, discordant note, trying to drown out a vast and beautiful symphony. The work is not to become a better conductor of your tiny, stressful orchestra. The work is to become quiet enough to hear the music that is already playing and to find your place within it. This brings us to a practice, not a goal to be achieved, but a gentle, moment-by-moment returning. The practice of conscious release. It begins with noticing. Throughout your day, become a detective of your own tension. Notice when your jaw is clenched while you read an email. Notice when your breath becomes shallow as you think about a future event. Notice the tightness in your stomach when a conversation doesn't go as you planned. In that moment of noticing, Do not judge yourself. Do not get angry at the controller for doing its job. Simply acknowledge it. See it. You can even say silently, "Ah, there it is." The need to control. Then, use your breath as the physical agent of your release. Take a slow, deliberate breath in, and as you breathe out, consciously soften the part of your body where you feel the tension. Unclench your jaw, drop your shoulders, release the knot in your stomach, and as you exhale, offer this silent mantra to the universe, to your own deeper self. I release the need to control this. Say it gently. I release my attachment to a specific outcome. Feel the shift, however small. It might last only for a second before the controller reasserts itself. That is fine. In that 1 second, you have chosen the open palm over the clenched fist. You have chosen trust over fear. You have exercised the muscle of surrender. Do this 100 times a day. Do it when you are stuck in traffic. Do it when you are waiting for a response. Do it when you are lying in bed, your mind racing. This is not a passive act. It is an act of profound and active spiritual discipline. With each conscious release, you are rewriting the old program. You are showing your ego, gently, that letting go does not lead to annihilation, it leads to peace. You are excavating space within yourself. When the hand is clenched, it can only hold onto its little pile of sand. It cannot receive anything else. But when the palm is open, it not only holds the sand without effort, but it can also feel the warmth of the sun. It can feel the caress of the wind. It can receive the gift of a raindrop. By releasing the desperate need to control, you do not lose. You open yourself up to receive the guidance, the support, and the grace of a universe that has been waiting patiently for you to stop fighting and simply be present for the journey. You are clearing the channel. You are quietening the static, so you can begin to hear a deeper, wiser signal, a signal that has been broadcast to you all along. The boat is drifting now, no longer fighting the current. In this newfound quiet, born from releasing the need to control the future, you become aware of a different force. It is not the pull of the water ahead, but a deep, immense drag from behind. It is a weight, heavy and profound, slowing your movement, keeping you tethered to the spot you just left. You have let go of the oars that fight for tomorrow, but you are still held fast by the anchor of yesterday. This is the second guardian at the gate, the immense, silent gravity of the past. Our obsession with controlling the future is almost never about the future itself. It is a direct reaction to the unhealed wounds of the past. We map out our steps with such frantic precision because we are trying to engineer a reality where the pain we once felt cannot find us again. The ghost of a past failure dictates the rigid terms of our future success. The echo of an old betrayal builds the fortress walls around our heart. The shame of a mistake we once made becomes the relentless inner critic that sabotages our present joy. The past is not a dead library of facts. It is a living, breathing entity within our energetic field. It is a filter, a colored lens placed over our eyes that distorts the pure light of the present moment into familiar shades of fear, doubt, and limitation. You carry it with you, this weight. It is a vast, invisible backpack filled with stones. There is the heavy, jagged stone of resentment. There is the smooth, cold stone of regret. There is the dusty, crumbling stone of shame. There are the 1,000 tiny pebbles of conversations you wish you could have again, choices you wish you could unmake, moments of weakness you cannot forget. You have carried this backpack for so long that you have forgotten what it feels like to walk without it. The strain in your shoulders feels normal. The downward gaze, forced by the weight, has become your natural posture. You believe the landscape of life is bleak and difficult because you are only ever seeing the dust on the path at your feet, never the vast open sky above. And here lies the most subtle and profound inner conflict. A part of you, the soul, the essence, yearns to be free. It wants to run, to dance, to feel the sun on its face. It knows, on an intuitive level, that you are not your past. But another part of you, the wounded self, finds a strange and tragic comfort in the weight of the backpack. The pain is familiar. The stories are well rehearsed. I am the one who was abandoned. I am the one who is not smart enough. I am the one who always messes things up. There is a certain safety in these narratives. They create a defined, albeit painful, identity. To put the backpack down would mean stepping into the brilliant, terrifying, and undefined light of the present moment. It would mean becoming someone new, and the old self whispers, "Do not go." Here, in the land of yesterday, it hurts, but we know all the rules. Out there, in the land of now, anything could happen. And so you unconsciously choose the familiar pain over the unknown freedom. You keep the anchor lodged deep in the riverbed of what was, wondering why your boat never truly moves forward. Let this truth land in the deepest part of your being. The universe, the creative intelligence of life, the flow, God, whatever name you choose, operates only and always in the now. It cannot deliver its guidance to a past address. It cannot send the sunlight of opportunity into a room where the curtains of yesterday are drawn shut. When your consciousness is occupied with replaying an old argument, reliving a past humiliation, or nursing an old grievance, you are not home. You are a ghost, haunting the empty rooms of your own history. Your body is here, in the present, but your energy, your focus, your very life force is elsewhere. And so, you miss the signs. You miss the synchronicities. You miss the quiet whisper of intuition pointing you toward a new path. You are unavailable for the magic of the present moment because you are a willing prisoner of a moment that no longer exists. The only way to pull up this anchor is through the courageous act of forgiveness. We must redefine this word. Forgiveness is not a moral favor you grant to someone who wronged you. It is not about condoning their behavior or pretending the pain did not happen. That is a misunderstanding that keeps so many people trapped. Forgiveness, in its most powerful and pragmatic form, is a declaration of your own freedom. It is the deliberate act of cutting the chain that binds you to the stone. Holding on to anger and resentment is like drinking a cup of poison and waiting for the other person to perish. The poison only ever corrodes the vessel that contains it. It is you who feels its burn. It is your life that it diminishes. Forgiving is the act of putting the poison down. It is a profound statement to the universe that you are no longer willing to allow the events of the past to contaminate the potential of your present. It is the ultimate act of self-love. And this forgiveness must, most importantly, be extended to yourself. You must forgive yourself for the choices you made when you did not know better. You must forgive yourself for not being wiser, stronger, or more aware at the time. You were doing the best you could with the consciousness you had, but you are not that person anymore. To continue to punish your present self for the actions of a past self is a cruel and pointless form of imprisonment. You have carried the stone of self-blame long enough. It is time to let it go. I invite you now to a practice, a ritual of release. Find a time when you can be undisturbed. Sit quietly, close your eyes, and take a few deep breaths. Allow a stone from your backpack to come to mind. Do not force it. Just see what memory, what story of resentment or regret surfaces first. Let yourself feel the weight of it, the familiar ache it produces in your body. Do not run from it. For one last time, honor its presence. Acknowledge the pain it caused. Thank it for what it taught you, even if the only lesson was that you could survive it. Now, in your mind's eye, see this memory, this story, as a heavy gray stone in your hands. Feel its texture, its coldness, and see a thick, rusty chain connecting this stone to your heart or to your gut. This chain is your attachment to the story. With your inner vision, create a tool. It might be a golden pair of shears, a brilliant sword of light, a flame of pure energy. This is your tool of liberation. Take another deep breath, and with the full force of your intention, sever the chain. See and feel the link breaking. A sound might accompany it, a clang of metal, a sigh of release. Watch as the stone, now disconnected from you, tumbles away into a formless void, dissolving back into the nothingness from which it came. Feel the lightness in your body where the chain was once attached. Breathe into that new space and say to yourself, I am free. I have carried this long enough. I forgive what was, and I forgive myself for holding on. I choose the present moment. If you feel called to, make this ritual physical. Write the story down on a piece of paper. Pour all of the anger, the sadness, the blame onto the page. Do not hold back. Then, safely, burn the paper. As you watch the smoke curl and rise, see it as the energy of the past dissolving, transforming from a heavy solid into a weightless gas, returning to the elements. This is a powerful declaration to your subconscious mind and to the universe. It is a line in the sand. Setting down the backpack of the past is not a single event. It is a continuous practice. Ghosts will reappear. The habit of memory is strong. But now, you have a choice. When the image of an old wound appears, you no longer have to invite it in and let it take over your home. You can acknowledge it, as you might nod to a stranger on the street, and let it pass by. You are no longer identified with it. You are the observer, the sky, not the passing cloud. Each time you do this, you reclaim a piece of your power. You pull your energy out of the dead past and reinvest it into the living present. You make yourself available. You clear the anchor. You allow the boat to drift freely. And you finally create the possibility for the river of life to carry you toward a destination far grander than any you could have planned from the painful landscape of yesterday. You have done the courageous work. You have laid down the oars of control. You have pulled up the heavy anchor of the past. The boat is lighter now, unbound, free from the drag of what was and the frantic push for what might be. And in this new, untethered state, you are met with an astonishing realization. The silence you expected is not there. Instead, there is a noise, a relentless, high-frequency static, a buzzing, chaotic chatter that seems to emanate from the very air inside your skull. This is the sound of the untamed mind. This is the ceaseless monologue of the inner narrator, the hyperactive acrobat known in ancient traditions as the monkey mind. It swings from branch to branch with dizzying speed, never resting. In one moment, it swings to a future worry, a bill that is due, a difficult conversation that must be had, the possibility of failure in a new venture. The next moment, it swings back to a past regret, a clumsy word spoken years ago, an opportunity not taken, a moment of perceived humiliation. It rehearses arguments that will never happen. It delivers brilliant comeback lines for conversations that are long over. It sits in judgment, a merciless critic on a throne inside your head, passing sentence on your actions, your appearance, your very worth. And it comments endlessly. It provides a running commentary on everything you see, everything you do, everything you feel, layering reality with a thick film of opinion, preference, and association. This noise is so constant, so pervasive, that most of us do not even recognize it as noise. We believe it is the sound of our own being. We believe we are this voice. This incessant chatter is not a sign of a vibrant intelligence. It is a defense mechanism. The mind fears silence. In true, deep silence, the ego, the constructed self, has nothing to latch onto. It is faced with the vast, open space of pure awareness, and this feels like annihilation, so it generates noise. It creates problems to solve, worries to chew on, dramas to analyze. all to maintain its sense of purpose and existence. It is an addiction to thinking, a compulsive need to fill every moment with mental activity, lest we be left alone with the raw, unmediated reality of the present. We are afraid of what we might find in the quiet. We are afraid of the unresolved sadness, the hidden fear, the deep loneliness. But even more than that, we are afraid we might find nothing at all, a vast emptiness that the ego interprets as a void, but which the soul knows as the womb of all creation. And here lies the most critical insight for this journey. The voice of the universe, the whisper of intuition, the guidance of the flow, cannot and will not compete with this noise. Truth does not shout. Wisdom does not argue. Inspiration does not arrive on a wave of frantic thought. It arises in the gaps. It is felt in the stillness between the thoughts. It is a quiet knowing that emerges from a place deeper than the chattering mind. As long as you are identified with the noise, you are standing in a crowded, screaming marketplace, trying to hear the delicate melody of a single distant flute. It is impossible. You cannot think your way to the peace you seek. Thinking is the barrier to the peace you seek. The work, then, is not to find the right thought, but to cultivate the silence in which the right knowing can finally be heard. To do this, we must adopt a new and powerful metaphor for our inner world. Imagine that your true nature, your essential consciousness, is the sky. It is vast, open, limitless, and eternally at peace. It is always here. It was the sky when you were born. It is the sky now, and it will be the sky for all of your days. Your thoughts, your emotions, your anxieties are the clouds. Clouds are not the sky. They are temporary phenomena that pass through the sky. Some are dark and stormy, filled with thunder and lightning. These are the clouds of anger or despair. Some are thick and grey, blanketing everything. These are the clouds of sadness or boredom. Some are light, wispy, and beautiful. These are the clouds of fleeting joy or inspiration. For our entire lives, we have been raised as cloud worshippers. We identify with the clouds. When a storm cloud appears, we say, "I am angry." We believe we have become the storm. When a grey cloud lingers, we say, "I am depressed." We believe we are the greyness. We spend all of our energy chasing the pleasant white clouds and running from the dark storm clouds. We live in a state of constant reactivity to this inner weather. The Great Awakening, the fundamental shift in this practice, is to withdraw your identity from the clouds and place it back where it belongs, in the sky. You are not the anger. You are the space that holds the anger. You are not the anxiety. You are the vast, silent awareness that is noticing the feeling of anxiety. This changes everything. It creates distance. It creates perspective. You no longer have to fix or fight the clouds. You simply have to let them be what they are, temporary, passing weather. Your job is to remain as the sky. This leads us to the practice. It is the practice of purposeless presence. We will call it meditation, but let us strip that word of its heavy baggage. This is not a practice to achieve anything, not to become calm, not to gain wisdom, not to have a spiritual experience. The desperate need to achieve is just another noisy cloud. The purpose of this practice is to have no purpose, to simply be, for 5 minutes a day. That is the invitation. Find a place to sit where you will not be disturbed. Sit comfortably, your back reasonably straight, to signal to your body that this is a time of gentle alertness, not sleep. Close your eyes. Begin by bringing your attention to your breath. Do not try to change it. Just feel the sensation of the air entering your nostrils, filling your lungs, and the sensation of it leaving. This is your anchor. It is the one thing that is always happening in the present moment. Within seconds, a thought will arise. The monkey mind will begin its performance. It will tell you you're not doing this right. It will remind you of an email you need to send. It will start to plan your dinner. This is not a failure. This is simply what the mind does. The practice is this. The moment you notice that your attention has been carried away by a thought, gently and without any judgment, acknowledge it. You might silently label it thinking, and then, as gently as you would guide a lost child back home, you return your attention to the sensation of the breath. You will do this 100 times in 5 minutes. This is the practice. The practice is not in staying thought-free. The practice is in the returning. Every time you notice you are lost in thought and you gently return to the breath, you have strengthened the muscle of awareness. You are training your mind over and over to let go of the clouds and rest in the sky. Do not get frustrated. Frustration is just another cloud. Do not judge your performance. Judgment is just another cloud. Simply notice and return. That is all. Over time, something remarkable begins to happen. As you practice observing your thoughts without being consumed by them, their power over you diminishes. The noise begins to quiet down. You start to notice tiny gaps of silence appearing between your thoughts. At first, they are fleeting, just a microsecond of pure, quiet presence, but they grow. The inner marketplace becomes less crowded. The screaming subsides to a murmur. And in this growing quiet, you begin to feel something new, a sense of peace that is not dependent on your circumstances, a clarity that arises on its own, without effort. You will be thinking about a problem for days, and then, in a moment of inner quiet, the solution will simply appear, whole and complete. This is the whisper of the universe. This is the voice of the flow. It was always there, waiting patiently beneath the noise. You did not have to create it. You only had to create the silence to be able to hear it. This is the building of your inner sanctuary, the sacred, quiet space within, where the real work of life can finally begin. You are sitting in the quiet. The anchor of the past is raised. The noise of the mind has begun to soften, and into this newfound sanctuary we introduce a single word, and the sanctuary shudders. The word is surrender. Instantly, the old programming ignites. The walls go up. Surrender feels like failure. It tastes of defeat, of resignation, of the bitter shame of waving a white flag. It is the last thing a culture built on winning and striving wants to hear. Our heroes are fighters, warriors, titans who bend the world to their will through sheer, relentless force. They are the ones who never quit, who never give in, who battle against all odds and emerge, bloodied but victorious. We have been taught to worship this archetype, to see it as the pinnacle of human strength. And so, the deepest inner conflict arises. Your soul, in the quiet, has tasted the peace of letting go. It has felt the profound relief of dropping the oars and raising the anchor. It senses a deeper truth, a more elegant way of living. But your mind, your conditioning, your very identity may be built upon the idea of being a fighter. You may pride yourself on your resilience, your grit, your ability to push through pain and overcome obstacles. To surrender feels like a betrayal of this identity. It feels weak. It feels like giving up on yourself. This is the great misunderstanding we must now dismantle, not with force, but with gentle, persistent clarity. We must re-examine the nature of true power. Let us look at the archetype of the fighter. We honor its fire, its determination. It has served us as a species and as individuals. It has helped us survive. But we must also look at its shadow. The fighter lives in a state of opposition. Their muscles are perpetually braced for impact. Their energy is consumed by vigilance and resistance. They see the world as a series of obstacles to be conquered, adversaries to be defeated. And even when they win, what is the prize? Often, it is a moment of fleeting relief, followed by the immediate search for the next battle, because a fighter's identity is dependent on the existence of a fight. Peace is a foreign land. The result is a life of immense effort, of constant tension, of burnout. It is a life that is heroic, perhaps, but rarely is it joyful. It is rarely graceful. Now, consider a different archetype, the dancer. The dancer does not fight the music, they join it, they listen to the rhythm, they feel the melody, and they become a partner to it. Their strength is not in rigidity, but in responsiveness. Their power is not in force, in opposition, but in flow, in alignment. The music of life is always playing. Its rhythm is the pulse of the seasons, the ebb and flow of fortune, the inhale and exhale of the universe. The fighter stands on the dance floor, fists clenched, trying to force the music to match the rigid steps they have memorized. The dancer, by contrast, allows their body to be moved by the music, improvising, yielding, expressing. The fighter's goal is to conquer. The dancer's goal is to harmonize. This is the essence of true surrender. It is not the limp, apathetic collapse of giving up. It is the intelligent, powerful, and graceful act of choosing to be the dancer, not the fighter. It is a strategic decision to stop wasting your precious life force in a futile struggle against the music. It is the highest form of energy management. Imagine a typhoon. The mighty oak tree, a symbol of brute strength and rigidity, stands its ground. It resists the wind with all of its power. It is proud, it is strong, and in a great gust, it cracks and splinters, its own strength becoming the instrument of its demise. Now, picture the bamboo forest. The stalks are slender, seemingly fragile. As the same typhoon rages, the bamboo does not resist. It yields, it bends, its top touching the very ground. It becomes one with the force of the wind, letting that immense power flow over it and through it. It does not break because it does not fight, and when the storm passes, the bamboo gracefully rises again, unharmed, its suppleness, its ultimate strength. In the storms of your own life, which strength will you choose? The rigid, brittle strength of the oak, or the resilient, yielding strength of the bamboo? True surrender is the wisdom of the bamboo. It is not giving up on your destination. It is giving up the violent insistence that you must take one single predetermined path to get there. It is not an abdication of action. It is an abdication of your ego's attachment to a specific result, achieved in a specific way, on a specific timeline. It is the profound declaration, I trust that there is an intelligence at work in my life that is far greater than my own limited, anxious mind. You stop telling the universe what you want to happen, and you start asking, what wants to happen through me? This requires a fundamental shift in your inner posture and language. It is a practice. You begin by noticing the language of force in your own mind. I have to solve this. I must make this work. I need to force this issue. This is the language of the clenched fist, the language of the oak tree. When you notice it, gently, without judgment, you practice introducing the language of allowance. Instead of, I have to solve this problem, try, I am open to the perfect solution revealing itself. Feel the difference in your body. The first phrase creates tension, the second creates space. Instead of, I have to make this person understand my point of view, try, I will express my truth clearly and with love, and I will release my attachment to their reaction. The first is a battle. The second is an act of integrity and freedom. Instead of, I must get that job, that partner, that outcome, try, I am aligning myself with the energy of my desire, and I trust that what is for me will come to me in the perfect way, at the perfect time. I am open to this, or something even better. This is not passivity. This is aligning your will with the will of the universe. It is co-creation. You are planting the seed of your intention, and then allowing the universal energies of sun and rain and soil to do their work, rather than trying to dig up the seed every day to see if it's growing. Action still happens. A life of surrender is not a life of inaction, but the quality of the action changes completely. Action born from resistance is tight, anxious, and draining. It feels like pushing a boulder uphill. Action born from surrender is different. It is inspired. It feels like a yes that arises from deep within you. It is effortless, effective, and energizing. You will find you get more done with far less struggle because you are no longer swimming against the current. You are acting on the opportunities the current brings to your doorstep. You are taking the step that feels right in the moment without needing to have the entire staircase mapped out in front of you. This is the ultimate paradox and the ultimate power. In order to gain true control over your life, you must surrender your ego's desperate need for it. In order to become truly powerful, you must yield to a power far greater than your own. It is the decision to stop being the lonely rower and to recognize that you are the wave, inseparable from the ocean. This is not weakness. This is the homecoming of your strength. It is the quiet, unshakable power of the bamboo. It is the graceful, dynamic power of the dancer. It is the conscious, courageous choice to stop fighting the river of life and to finally, fully trust its flow. You have laid down your arms. You have chosen the supple strength of the bamboo over the brittle power of the oak. You stand now, not in opposition to the river of life, but in quiet partnership with it. A question naturally arises in this new stillness. If my role is not to fight, then what is it? If I am not to impose my will, then what am I to do? The answer is as simple as it is profound. You are to listen. This word, like surrender, has been diluted by our modern world. For us, listening is most often a prelude to speaking. It is a state of temporary and often impatient silence while we formulate our reply, our judgment, our solution. We listen to find flaws in an argument. We listen to find our turn to interject. Our listening is an active, aggressive, and goal-oriented pursuit. It is the ego listening for information it can use. This is not the listening we speak of now. The art of listening is an act of total receptivity. It is a deep, generative stillness of the soul. It is the conscious creation of a space within you for truth to land. It is listening with your entire being, with your ears, yes, but also with your skin, with your gut, with the very marrow of your bones. It is the most potent and creative act you are capable of. To practice this art, you must first understand that there are two primary channels of communication, two stations broadcasting wisdom to you at every moment. The first is the inner channel. This is the subtle, non-verbal language of your own body, your own intuition. It is the quiet hum of your soul. It speaks not in words, but in sensations. It is the sudden, inexplicable feeling of expansion and lightness in your chest when you are on the right path. It is the cold, tight knot of dread in your stomach that signals a warning, a no, far more clearly than any logical argument. It is the gut feeling that a person is trustworthy or that a situation is amiss, even when all outward appearances suggest the contrary. This channel has been broadcasting to you your entire life, but its signal is subtle, and you have been trained to trust the loud, shouty voice of your logical mind instead. The mind can be deceived. It can be programmed with false beliefs. Your body, however, does not know how to lie. Its wisdom is primal and true. The second is the outer channel. This is the universe speaking to you in its own language, the language of symbol, metaphor, and synchronicity. It is the book that falls off a shelf, open to a page that contains the exact answer to a question you have been holding. It is the lyrics of a song you hear on the radio that seem to be written just for you. It is the recurring number, the chance encounter, the overheard conversation that strikes you with the force of a revelation. The rational mind dismisses these events as mere coincidence. But from a state of deep listening, you begin to perceive them as they are. Gentle winks from the cosmos, affirmations that you are seen, that you are heard, and that you are being guided. The universe is not a dead, random machine. It is a living, intelligent, and communicative field of consciousness, and it is constantly leaving you breadcrumbs on your path. The problem is not that the signs are absent. The problem is that you are not looking for them. Imagine your consciousness is a sophisticated radio receiver. For years, you have kept it tuned to one or two familiar, noisy stations. There is the station of your anxious mind, broadcasting a 24-hour news cycle of worry and worst-case scenarios. There is the station of society's expectations, playing the same repetitive songs of what you should be doing. There is the old, crackly station of your past, replaying its painful stories over and over. You have listened to these stations for so long, you've forgotten you can even change the dial. You may even believe these few noisy channels are all that exist. The art of listening is the patient, delicate craft of turning that dial. It is the willingness to tune past the loud, the obvious, and the familiar. It is the faith to search the spaces in between, the seeming static, for a fainter, clearer frequency. The signal of your intuition, the broadcast of the universe, is always there. But it is a quiet station. Its signal is refined. It does not force its way through the noise. You must skillfully and intentionally tune your receiver to its exact coordinates. Every act of quieting your mind, every moment of surrender, every conscious breath is an act of fine-tuning your inner radio. This requires a shift in identity from being a seeker to becoming a receiver. The seeker is active, hunting, striving. They read every book, they ask every expert, they furiously gather data, believing the answer is a thing to be captured. The receiver, however, has a different posture. The receiver does not hunt. The receiver prepares the vessel. They focus on clearing the channel, on polishing the antenna, on creating the most pristine conditions for the signal to be received. The seeker believes the answers are out there. The receiver understands that the answers are always flowing, and the work is to become receptive in here. To the ego, this feels dangerously passive, but to the soul, it is a state of profound, active readiness. So, how do we practice this? How do we train ourselves to hear these subtle broadcasts? We begin by learning to listen to the voiceless. This is your practice. Find a small piece of the natural world. It can be a vast forest, a city park, an ocean shore, or even a single potted plant on your windowsill. Your only intention is to go and listen, leave all other goals behind. This is not exercise. This is not recreation. It is a pilgrimage into the heart of silence. Sit down, and for a time just be. What do you hear? At first you will hear the obvious sounds, the birds, the traffic, the wind. Listen deeper. Can you hear the sound of the wind moving through different kinds of leaves? Can you hear the silence between the bird calls? Now, expand your listening beyond your ears. Feel the sensation of the air on your skin. Is it cool, warm, humid, dry? Notice the play of light and shadow on the ground. See it not just as light, but as a silent, shifting language. Watch an ant carry a crumb across the earth. Observe its industry, its focus, its lack of anxiety or self-importance. It is simply doing what it is meant to do. There is a profound teaching in that. Contemplate a tree. It stands in silent, unshakable wisdom. It does not strive or rush. Its growth is patient, persistent, and perfectly aligned with the seasons. It communicates its strength and its place in the world without a single word. By immersing yourself in this non-verbal world, you are retraining your consciousness. You are teaching yourself to perceive intelligence and wisdom in forms that exist beyond human logic. You are sensitizing your soul to the subtle. You are polishing the lens of your perception. You are learning the language of the universe at its most fundamental level. When you return from this practice, you bring this new sensitivity with you. You will begin to listen to people differently, hearing the emotion and energy behind their words. You will begin to listen to your own body differently, honoring its subtle messages of yes and no. You will begin to notice the world around you with a new sense of wonder and connection, seeing the patterns, the signs, the gentle guidance that was there all along. The art of listening is not about finding an answer to a single question. It is about becoming a living answer. It is about transforming yourself from a noisy, closed-off room into a finely tuned, resonant instrument. And when you live in this state of deep, open and continuous listening, your life itself begins to harmonize with the grand, silent symphony that is always being played. You no longer need to fight for your place. You simply, gracefully and powerfully take your part in the music. You have become quiet. You have learned to surrender your fight and have begun the sacred art of listening. The inner radio, once crackling with the static of fear and memory, is now tuned to a clearer, subtler frequency. You have become a receiver, and now, into this fertile, receptive silence, you are invited to become something more. You are invited to become a creator, not in the old way, not as a tyrant of circumstance forcing your will upon the world, but in a new way, as a partner, as a gardener. This is the art of planting an intention. We must first understand that an intention is not the same as a goal. The two may look similar on the surface, but they are born from entirely different worlds. A goal is a creation of the ego. It is born from a perception of lack. It says, I do not have enough, so I must get that. I am not important, so I must achieve that to prove my worth. A goal is often rigid, specific, and tied to external validation. It is a destination you believe you must conquer. It is the language of the fighter. An intention, however, is a creation of the soul. It is born from a place of fullness and resonance. It does not say I need to get, it says I choose to be. It is not about a specific outcome, but about a quality of experience, a state of being. It is the language of the dancer, the gardener. For example, the ego sets a goal. I must earn $1 million. The soul forms an intention. My intention is to live in a state of joyful abundance, creative flow, and generous security. Do you feel the difference? The goal is a number, a target. The intention is a vibration, a feeling state. The ego's goal is, I must become the CEO of this specific company. The soul's intention is, my intention is to express my leadership gifts in a way that inspires others and creates meaningful value. The goal is a box. The intention is a direction. The universe, which communicates in the language of energy and vibration, responds far more powerfully to the resonance of a pure intention than to the rigid demands of a desperate goal. To work with intention is to become a divine gardener. This is the most potent metaphor we have for this creative process. Let us walk through the garden together. First, you must choose your seed. The seed is your intention itself. You cannot expect a beautiful flower to grow from a seed of weeds. A seed born of fear, jealousy, or revenge is a poor seed. An intention to harm another or to hoard out of scarcity will only grow poisoned fruit in your own life. You must choose a high-quality seed. This is done in the quiet space you have cultivated. You go within and you ask your deeper self, not your ego, what experience does my soul wish to have? What energy do I wish to embody and contribute to the world? The answer will feel like warmth, like expansion, like a quiet yes. That feeling is the seed. It is the pure, energetic signature of your authentic desire. Second, you must prepare the soil. The soil is your own consciousness, your inner state. The work you have already done releasing control, letting go of the past, quieting the mind, embracing surrender, this has all been the sacred work of tilling the soil. You have been pulling the weeds of doubt, removing the rocks of old trauma, and aerating the dense, compacted earth of limiting beliefs. You cannot plant a seed of abundance in soil that is toxic with thoughts of lack. You cannot plant a seed of love in soil that is hardened by resentment. A fertile inner state of trust, openness, and worthiness is the prerequisite for any intention to take root. Third, you plant the seed. This is a conscious, deliberate act of creation. Once you are clear on your intention, the feeling, the energy, the state of being, you plant it. This is not a casual wish. It is a focused, ceremonial moment. You enter a state of quiet contemplation. You formulate your intention, perhaps writing it down. It is most powerful when stated in the present tense, as if it already is. I am a conduit for healing peace. I am living a life of vibrant health and boundless energy. I am in a loving, respectful, and joyous partnership. Then, you close your eyes. You feel, with every cell in your body, what it would feel like to be living this reality right now. You do not just think about it. You embody its frequency. You feel the gratitude, the joy, the peace of the wish fulfilled. This feeling is the energy that activates the seed. Then, in your mind's eye, you visualize this seed of light pulsating with your feeling, and you gently place it into the vast, dark, fertile soil of universal consciousness. And this is the most crucial step, you let it go. You release it. You trust the soil. This is where the gardener's wisdom truly shines. The gardener knows that the most profound part of creation happens in the dark, beneath the surface, in a way they cannot see or control. The gardener does not dig up the seed every day to check on its progress. To do so would kill it. The gardener plants the seed and then trusts the immutable laws of nature. They trust the sun, the rain, the soil. This is where your inner manager conflicts with your inner gardener. The manager wants a timeline, a progress report, a guarantee. The gardener operates on faith. Your job, after planting, is to trust the universe. You must release your need to know how it will happen or when it will happen. Your attachment to the how and when is the equivalent of digging up the seed. It introduces the energy of doubt into the fertile soil. Your work is not over, however. The gardener must still tend the garden. You water the seed by returning to the feeling of the wish fulfilled whenever you think of it. You feel gratitude for its inevitable unfolding. You weed the garden by noticing thoughts of doubt, fear, or impatience as they arise, and gently letting them go, knowing they are just clouds passing in your sky. You do not fight the weeds. You simply cease to give them your energy and attention. And what of action? You do not simply sit and wait. You continue to live in the state of deep listening. Having planted the seed for joyful abundance, you listen for the inner nudge to take a class, to call a friend, to explore a new idea. You act on the inspired impulse. The intention acts like a destination you have plugged into a cosmic GPS. You do not need to see the entire map. Your job is simply to listen for the next instruction. Turn left here. Your action is responsive, not forceful. You are taking the next logical, inspired step, trusting that it is leading you toward the manifestation of your intention. Often, the universe's path is far more creative and efficient than the one your ego would have planned. This is the new paradigm of creation. You move from a state of desperate wanting to a state of calm, creative knowing. You understand that you are a co-creator. Your part is to purify your own energy, to clarify your soul's desire, and to plant the seed of intention with faith. The universe's part is to orchestrate the infinite, complex web of circumstances and synchronicities to bring that intention to life. You provide the seed. The universe provides the miracle of growth. Stop being the frantic, anxious manager of your life and step into the quiet dignity and profound power of the gardener. Look at the garden of your life. What beautiful seeds are you ready to plant today? You have planted your seed in the fertile ground of the universe. You have released it with trust, becoming the gardener who waits with patient faith for the miracle of growth. Now, you begin to walk in the world again, and the first question is, how do I navigate? How do I know which way to turn while my intention germinates in the unseen dark? You have been taught to look for answers in the sky, for a dramatic sign, for external validation. But the first and most reliable guidance comes not from the sky above, but from the very ground of your own being. It comes from your body. For too long, we have treated the body as a beast of burden, an inconvenient vehicle whose primary purpose is to carry our brains from one meeting to the next. We have been taught to see it as separate from our consciousness, a machine prone to weakness, pain, and decay. We learn to silence its signals. When it tells us it is tired, we flood it with caffeine and push through. When it sends a message of discomfort in the form of a gut feeling, we override it with a logical pro-con list. When it speaks in the language of anxiety or pain, we numb it with distraction or medication. This great disconnection from our physical selves is one of the most profound tragedies of modern life. It is the source of our chronic confusion. It is like being a master sailor, blessed with the most exquisitely calibrated compass, who chooses instead to lock it in a dark room and navigate the treacherous seas by intellect alone. The mind can be taught to believe in lies. The mind can be tangled in the knots of past conditioning and future fears. The body, however, exists only in the pure, unvarnished truth of the present moment. It is your most honest and trustworthy oracle. Your body is a living compass, constantly receiving and translating the subtle energies of the universe. It does not speak in grammar and syntax. Its language is far more ancient and immediate. Its language is sensation. Learning to decode this language is the key to navigating the flow of your life with grace and precision. The entire vocabulary of this compass can be distilled into one fundamental binary: expansion and contraction. When a choice, a person, or a situation is in alignment with your soul's path, your body will signal this with the subtle but unmistakable feeling of expansion. It is a yes. Your posture might unconsciously straighten. Your breathing may deepen. You might feel a sense of warmth, lightness, or openness in your chest and solar plexus. It feels like a release. There is a sense of ease, of rightness, even if the path itself looks challenging. This is your body resonating in harmony with the universe's intention for you. Conversely, when something is not in alignment, your body will signal this with contraction. This is a no. It is a feeling of closing down. Your stomach may clench or feel sour. Your throat might tighten. A cold knot might form in your gut. Your shoulders may hunch forward, as if bracing for a blow. You might feel a sudden, inexplicable drain of your energy. This is your body, your compass, telling you that you are heading into a storm, that you are moving against the current. This feedback is not a punishment. It is a gift of pure, unadulterated information. The tragedy is that we have been conditioned to ignore it, to explain it away as indigestion or stress, rather than honoring it as the sacred guidance it is. Consider the centers of this compass. Your gut is often called your second brain, and for good reason. It is the seat of your primal, animal intuition. The phrase, "a gut feeling," is a deep biological truth. This is where you feel the raw, unfiltered data of a situation. Is it safe? Is this person's energy clean? This is not a place of nuanced logic. It is a place of visceral knowing. Your heart center is the seat of resonant truth. It tells you what is in alignment with your soul. When you contemplate an action that is born from love, integrity, and your authentic self, your heart feels open and warm. When you consider an action that betrays your values, that is born from fear or obligation, your heart feels heavy, constricted, or cold. It is a compass for your integrity. Even your energy level itself is a form of guidance. If you are constantly exhausted, it is worth asking, what situation, what job, What relationship am I pouring my life force into that gives nothing back? Chronic fatigue is often a sign of a profound energetic misalignment. Conversely, what activities make you lose track of time? What people or projects leave you feeling more energized than when you began? These are not random occurrences. They are your compass pointing you toward your true north, the path of your purpose. Let us return to the metaphor of the compass. The needle is your inner sense of expansion or contraction. The logical mind is like a frantic committee of advisors, all shouting different directions, waving conflicting maps, arguing about the best way to proceed. The committee can debate forever, but if you can silence the committee, thank them for their input, and turn your attention inward to the compass itself, you will find its needle. It may quiver at first, but as you grow still, it will settle, it will point. This direction may defy the logic of the committee. It may lead you away from the safe, well-trodden path, but it will always point toward your authentic journey. Honoring the compass over the committee is a radical act of self-trust. It is how you begin to truly co-create with the universe. The practice for honing this skill is one of deep, embodied listening. It is a body scan with a purpose. Find a quiet space. Lie down or sit comfortably. Close your eyes. Begin by bringing your attention to your feet. Do not try to change anything. Simply notice what sensations are present: warmth, cold, tingling, numbness. Gently, slowly, move your awareness up through your body, your legs, your hips, your belly, your chest, your arms, your neck, your face. For each part, you are just a neutral observer, gathering data. You are becoming intimately familiar with the baseline state of your own physical landscape. Once you feel present and grounded in your body, bring to mind a situation or a decision you are currently facing. Choose something simple at first. Silently in your mind, ask a question that can be answered with a yes or a no. For example, is it for my highest good to attend this event tonight? And then, immediately, let go of your thinking mind and drop your full attention into your body. Listen, what is the very first, instantaneous, subtle shift in sensation? Is there a flicker of expansion in your chest, or a slight clenching in your gut? Is there a feeling of lightness, or a subtle feeling of dread? Do not search for a big, dramatic sign. Look for the faintest tremor on the needle of your compass. Do not analyze it. Do not second-guess it. Just notice it. This is your truth. The more you practice this, the more sensitive you will become, and the clearer and more reliable the signals will be. Your body is not your enemy. It is not a source of shame or a project to be perfected. It is a sacred instrument, a divine piece of technology for navigating the material world. To nourish it with good food, to give it rest when it is weary, to move it with joy, these are not just acts of physical health. They are acts of spiritual stewardship. You are cleaning your compass, ensuring it is free from rust and interference, so that its readings are true. When you learn to inhabit your body fully, to trust its wisdom implicitly, you cease to be lost. You no longer need to constantly ask for directions, because you realize you have been carrying the map and the compass within you all along. You are home in your own skin, and from this grounded, embodied place, you can finally walk your path with unshakable confidence and grace. You are becoming grounded in the wisdom of your own body. You have learned to feel the subtle yes of expansion and the cautionary no of contraction. You are trusting your inner compass. As you begin to walk through the world guided by this internal truth, something extraordinary begins to happen. The world outside of you begins to mirror the conversation you are having within. You think of a question, and the answer appears on a billboard. You hold an intention in your heart, and a stranger speaks a sentence that affirms it. You feel a moment of doubt, and the perfect song plays on the radio to reassure you. This is the language of synchronicity. It is the universe beginning to speak back to you in a language you can understand. To the strictly rational mind, a mind conditioned to see life as a series of disconnected, random events, synchronicity is dismissed as mere coincidence or confirmation bias. The skeptic within you, the guardian of logic, will rush to explain it away. It will say, "You were just thinking about that, so you noticed it more." It means nothing. And from one level of reality, this is not entirely untrue, but it is a profoundly incomplete truth. It is like describing a masterpiece of poetry as a mere collection of ink marks on paper. It is factually correct, but it misses the magic, the meaning, and the entire point. Let us use a different metaphor. Imagine that all of reality, all of time and space, is a single, immense tapestry woven with infinite complexity and beauty. From our normal vantage point, we are crawling on the underside of this tapestry. All we can see is a chaotic jumble of threads. We see knots, loose ends, and random patches of color. It looks messy, confusing, and utterly meaningless. This is the world as seen by the skeptical mind. A synchronicity is a moment when a pinhole of light shines through from the other side. For a fleeting instant, you are able to press your eye to that hole and glimpse the pattern on the top of the tapestry. In that second, you see the breathtaking design, the coherence, the impossible beauty of the weave. You see how the thread of your own life is perfectly intertwined with every other thread. The glimpse is brief, and then you are back on the underside. But you are changed forever. You now carry the unshakable knowledge that a pattern exists. You know that behind the apparent chaos, there is a hidden, divine order. Synchronicity, then, is not the universe rearranging itself to impress you. It is your consciousness becoming refined enough to perceive the underlying pattern that is always there. It is the result of your inner and outer worlds beginning to vibrate at the same frequency. When you plant a pure intention, when you listen to your body's compass, you are tuning your own energetic frequency, like a musician tuning a string. Synchronicity is the moment when your string resonates in perfect harmony with the symphony of the cosmos, creating a note so clear and true that you cannot help but notice it. These moments are the universe winking at you. They are loving affirmations from a friendly intelligence. They are the external feedback loop for your internal guidance system. When you feel a yes in your body and take a step in that direction, a synchronicity might appear to confirm your choice. It says, "Correct, keep going." When you are holding a difficult question in your heart, a synchronicity might arrive to offer a clue. It says, "Look here, consider this." It is a dialogue. What are these winks? They are as varied and creative as the universe itself. You think of a dear friend you haven't spoken to in years, and your phone rings with their name on the screen. You are struggling with a specific problem, and you open a book at random to a paragraph that addresses your exact situation. You keep seeing a certain sequence of numbers: 11, 11, 222, 444, every time you are contemplating a major life choice. You overhear a fragment of a conversation between strangers that contains the precise piece of wisdom you needed to hear. You might notice a particular animal, a hawk, a fox, a dragonfly appearing in your life repeatedly, as if it carries a message. The skeptical part of your mind will fight this. It will feel safer to believe in a random, meaningless world than to open up to the vulnerability of a world that is alive, intelligent, and interactive. Acknowledging synchronicity requires a degree of humility. It requires you to admit that your logical mind does not run the show. It is a choice to believe in magic, not as fantasy, but as the mechanics of a deeper reality. And here is the secret. The more you choose to honor and acknowledge these events, the more frequently they will occur. When the universe sees that you are listening, it begins to speak more clearly. When you thank it for its winks, it winks more often. This is why the most powerful practice for cultivating this guidance is to keep a synchronicity journal. This is a simple, yet profoundly transformative act. Take a dedicated notebook. Each day, write down any of these meaningful coincidences, no matter how small or strange they may seem. The song lyric, the number sequence, the chance encounter, the unexpected gift. Treat these moments like sacred data. Next to each entry, make a small note of what was on your mind just before it happened. What were you feeling? What question were you holding? What intention were you focused on? At first, the entries may seem disconnected, but after a week, a month, something astonishing will begin to happen as you read back through your journal. You will see the pattern. You will see, laid out in your own handwriting, the undeniable proof of a conversation. You will realize that every time you worried about your finances, a sign of abundance appeared. You will notice that every time you trusted your intuition, the number 8 would show up everywhere. You will see how a seemingly random event in week 1 was actually laying the groundwork for a breakthrough in week 3. The journal becomes your personal Rosetta Stone for decoding the language of your own life. It moves the experience of synchronicity from a fleeting, easily dismissed feeling into a body of concrete, personal evidence. This evidence will become the foundation of an unshakable trust. You are not alone in a cold, empty universe. You are a vital part of a living, breathing, intelligent whole. You are a thread in the great tapestry, and the weaver knows you by name. To decode the language of synchronicity is to wake up to this truth. It is to realize that guidance is all around you, that the world is conspiring in your favor, and that life is not a battle to be won, but a beautiful mystery to be lived in conversation. Pay attention. The universe is whispering to you. It is winking at you. It is leaving you clues. Your only task is to be quiet and curious enough to notice. You are learning the new language. You are listening to the compass of your body. You are beginning to read the poetry of synchronicity in the world around you. You are in conversation with the universe. But what happens when the conversation seems to fall silent? What happens when your inner compass tells you to stay put, when the signs in the outer world seem to disappear, when the clear path forward becomes shrouded in fog? Your mind, conditioned by a culture that worships action, will begin to panic. It will tell you that you must do something. It will insist that progress requires movement, that solutions require struggle. And here, you are brought to the threshold of one of the most misunderstood and radical of all spiritual disciplines, the discipline of doing nothing. We live in the cult of busyness. Our society has conflated productivity with self-worth. To be busy is to be important. To have a full calendar is a badge of honor. We fill every spare moment with activity-checking emails, scrolling through feeds, making lists, planning, optimizing. We are terrified of empty space, of unstructured time. The idea of doing nothing is treated as a moral failing, a symptom of laziness or a waste of potential. This relentless compulsion to act is not a sign of vitality. It is a symptom of a deep inner anxiety. It is the ego's frantic attempt to prove its own existence and maintain the illusion of control. The ego believes that if it is not doing, it is not being. And so, it keeps you running, often in circles, simply to avoid the profound and terrifying prospect of stillness. But all of nature teaches a different lesson. Consider the wisdom of winter. To the impatient eye, a winter landscape is a picture of inactivity, even death. The trees are stark and bare. The earth is hard and frozen. The vibrant energy of summer is gone. It seems as though nothing is happening. But beneath that still, silent surface, the most crucial work of the entire year is being done. Life force is gathering. Roots are strengthening deep in the earth. Energy is being conserved, consolidated, and purified. The tree is not dead. It is in a state of deep, potent, and essential rest. It is preparing for the inevitable and explosive miracle of spring. Without the silent, inward discipline of winter, the outward expression of spring would be impossible. Your life, your creativity, and your spiritual journey follow these same sacred rhythms. You cannot live in a perpetual spring of outward action and growth. There are seasons for doing, and there are seasons for being. There are times for speaking, and there are times for silent integration. The discipline of doing nothing is the art of honoring your own inner winter. It is the wisdom to recognize when you are in a fallow period, a time not for forcing a harvest, a time for allowing your own inner soil to rest and be nourished. We must make a critical distinction here. The active stillness we are speaking of is not the same as passive laziness. Laziness is born from apathy, from fear, from a sense of despair. It feels heavy, stagnant, and draining. It is an avoidance of life. The sacred pause, the discipline of doing nothing, is the exact opposite. It is born from a place of deep trust, patience, and alert awareness. It feels calm, potent, and pregnant with possibility. It is not the stillness of a stagnant pond, but the stillness of a great cat, crouched in the tall grass, utterly relaxed, yet completely awake, waiting for the perfect, intuitive moment to leap. It is a state of active, vibrant waiting. This creates a powerful inner conflict. The fixer within you, the part of your ego that needs to solve every problem immediately, will be screaming for action. We can't just sit here, it will cry. We're falling behind. We have to figure this out. The fixer believes that all solutions come from mental effort and physical striving. It is like a nervous chef who keeps opening the oven door to check on the cake, letting out all the heat and ensuring it will never rise. Meanwhile, another part of you, the deep, intuitive trustee, knows the truth. The trustee understands divine timing. It knows that you have planted the seed of your intention, and the universe is now doing its part. It knows that some puzzles solve themselves when you stop trying to force the pieces together. It understands that your frantic meddling can disrupt the delicate, invisible work that is being done on your behalf. The sacred pause is the fertile void. It is not empty space. It is space being made. In these periods of seeming inaction, the universe is rearranging the furniture of your reality. It is clearing paths you cannot see. It is having conversations on your behalf. It is aligning the circumstances and synchronicities that will create the foundation for your next inspired step. Your job during this time is not to interfere. Your most powerful and productive action is to hold a space of unwavering trust. It is to protect the sanctity of the germination process. The practice for this is simple in its instruction and radical in its execution. You must schedule emptiness. Look at your calendar, that sacred altar to the god of busyness. Find a small slot of time, 15, even 10 minutes. Block it out and label it, "Do nothing." This is a non-negotiable appointment with the universe. When the time arrives, your only task is to honor it. Put away your phone, turn off your screen, do not pick up a book, do not even try to have a productive meditation session where you are seeking an insight. Simply be. You can sit in a chair and look out the window. You can lie on the floor and watch the dust motes dance in a sunbeam. You can close your eyes and listen to the sounds in the room. Within moments, the addiction will kick in. Your mind will generate an overwhelming urge to do something, to make a list, to solve a problem, to tidy a shelf. You will feel a sense of guilt, of restlessness, of boredom. This discomfort is the very point of the practice. Your discipline is to notice this powerful urge to be productive, to feel it fully, and to gently, consciously, not give in to it. With each moment, you resist the pull of busyness. You are breaking the spell. You are reclaiming your sovereignty from the cult of productivity. You are teaching your nervous system that it is safe to be still. What happens in this stillness is a quiet miracle. After the initial storm of restlessness passes, a profound sense of peace begins to settle. Your mind, finally granted permission to stop performing, begins to quiet down. Your body, finally allowed to rest, begins to release its deep, stored tension. And often, in this space of non-doing, the very thing you were striving for arrives on its own. The elegant solution to a complex problem floats effortlessly into your awareness. The clear, simple knowing of the next right step emerges from the silence. You did not find the answer. The answer found you because you finally became quiet enough to receive it. Embrace your inner winter. Honor the sacred pause. Learn to trust the wisdom of inaction. It is the ultimate act of faith in the flow of life. It is the quiet confidence of the gardener who knows that after the stillness of winter, the spring is not just possible, it is inevitable. In the deep, potent and fertile silence of doing nothing, you create the space for the universe to do everything. You have walked a long and quiet path to arrive at this moment. You have learned to release the clenched fist of control. You have untethered yourself from the anchor of the past. You have sat in the silence and watched the clouds of your anxious mind drift by. You have discovered the supple, resilient strength of surrender. You have learned to listen both to the deep, somatic wisdom of your body's compass and to the winks of synchronicity from the world around you. You have planted the seed of a pure intention, and you have honored the sacred, fertile discipline of doing nothing. These have not been separate, disconnected lessons. Each has been a single note, and now we begin to put them together. We begin to hear the chord. We begin to feel the rhythm. All of these practices culminate in a single, unified, and dynamic way of being in the world. They are the pathway from a life of forcing to a life of flowing. This is the great shift. This is the homecoming. Let us examine these two states, for you have lived in both. You know them intimately. The state of forcing is the default setting of the modern world. It is the feeling of gritting your teeth to get through the day. It is the sensation of constantly pushing a heavy boulder up a steep hill. When you are forcing, your mind is a frantic calculator of risk and reward. It is obsessed with the outcome, and it views the process, the present moment, as a tedious obstacle to be overcome. Your body is tense, braced for resistance. Your jaw is tight, your shoulders are high, your breath is shallow. Time feels slow, heavy, a commodity you are always losing. Forcing is the energy of the rower, stroke after exhausting stroke, fighting a current that is infinitely stronger than he is. It is a life of immense effort and meager results. It is a life of friction, resistance, and burnout. Now, recall a time you were in a state of flow. Perhaps it was while playing a sport, creating a piece of art, engaged in a heartfelt conversation, or being absorbed in a piece of work you love. What did it feel like? There was a sense of effortlessness, of grace. Your actions seemed to happen on their own, perfectly attuned to the moment. Your mind was not chattering or judging. It was silent, clear, and completely absorbed. Your sense of a separate self, the you who was doing the action, seemed to fade away. There was only the doing. There was only the dance. Time became fluid, either stretching out for ages or disappearing in a flash. And the activity itself was its own reward. The joy was not in the destination, but in the movement itself. This is the state of flow. It is the energy of the dancer, so merged with the music that there is no longer a dancer and a dance, but only a single, unified expression of joy. The central metaphor that unites all of our lessons is this: life is a river. It is not a solid problem to be solved. It is a dynamic, powerful, and ever-moving current of energy. The grand illusion of the ego is that you are separate from this river and that your purpose is to control it. Forcing is standing on the riverbank, trying to build a dam with your bare hands. It is trying to dig a new channel with a tiny shovel. It is an arrogant and exhausting battle against a force that is primordial and immense. Flowing is the realization that you are not separate from the river. It is the wisdom to get in the canoe. You still have a paddle. This is your intention, your will, your choice. But you no longer use the paddle to fight the river. You use it as a rudder to steer. You make subtle, skillful adjustments to navigate the current. You use the river's own immense power to carry you forward. You learn to read the water ahead, to see the calm pools where you can rest, to anticipate the rapids and ride them with exhilarating skill, to avoid the eddies that would spin you in circles. You become a partner to the river, a co-navigator. You understand that the river's destination is your destination. This is not a loss of control. It is the attainment of a higher, more elegant form of control. It is the mastery of the surfer who does not command the wave, but who, through perfect alignment and responsiveness, dances upon its incredible power. The primary obstacle to this state of flow is, as always, the ego. The ego needs to be the hero, the doer. The feeling of, "I am doing this," is its lifeblood. In a state of flow, this feeling dissolves. "I am doing this" is replaced by the wondrous and humbling sensation of, "This is being done through me." The artist feels the painting is painting itself. The musician feels the music is playing itself. The athlete feels the game is playing itself. This shift, from doer to conduit, is terrifying to the ego but liberating for the soul. It is the essence of moving from forcing to flowing. So how do we cultivate this state in our daily lives, outside of grand creative moments? We practice with the mundane. We learn to find flow in the ordinary, so it becomes our natural state of being. Choose a simple, everyday task you normally rush through: washing the dishes, folding laundry, sweeping the floor, taking a walk. Your practice is to transform this task from a chore to be forced through into an opportunity for flow. Let us take washing the dishes. The forcing approach is to clatter them into the sink, to scrub with tense, angry energy, to be mentally 5 steps ahead, thinking about what you have to do next, wishing the task was over. It is an act of resistance. The flowing approach is a moving meditation. Before you begin, set the intention, "I will find the flow in this." Then you bring your full awareness to the sensations. You feel the warmth of the water on your hands. You notice the smooth, cool surface of the plate. You listen to the sound of the water, the gentle clink of ceramic. You find a natural, easy rhythm in the movements of scrubbing, rinsing, and placing the dish in the rack. You let go of the need to hurry. You dissolve the mental labels of I and dish. There is only the warm, flowing water and the circular motion of the hand. There is only this moment. By bringing this quality of presence to a simple act, you are training your entire nervous system. You are teaching your consciousness how to access the state of flow at will. If you can find it at the kitchen sink, you can find it anywhere. The state of flow is the ultimate sign of alignment. When you feel that sense of ease, timelessness, and joy, it is the universe confirming that you are precisely where you need to be, doing precisely what you need to be doing. When you feel a constant grinding sense of forcing and resistance, it is your inner compass screaming at you that you are off course. Let the feeling of flow be your guide. Follow what feels expansive and effortless. Gravitate toward the activities, people, and places that allow you to forget yourself. Perhaps this is the ultimate purpose of our journey, not to accumulate a series of achievements checked off a list, but to spend as much of our precious time on this earth as possible in that sacred, joyful state of flow. For it is in the flow that we lose our small, fearful selves and merge with the great creative self of the universe. It is where our best work is done, our deepest love is felt, and our true nature is revealed. This is the destination of the river. It is the release of the final battle and the joyful acceptance of the dance. You are learning to live in the river of life, to feel its current, to move in the state of flow. And here, a crucial question of navigation arises. You have a paddle in your hands, the paddle of your will, your capacity to act. When do you use it? To simply drift forever is not the path of a co-creator. Action is a vital part of the dance, but the way of flow demands a new relationship with action. It requires you to develop the most subtle and important of all navigational skills, the ability to distinguish between inspired action and anxious activity. These two forces may look similar from the outside. Both can result in a flurry of movement and a completed to-do list, but they are born from entirely different dimensions of consciousness, and they produce vastly different results. Your ability to discern between them will determine whether your life is one of graceful effectiveness or one of exhausting struggle. Let us first perform an anatomy of anxious activity. This is the default mode of the conditioned mind. Anxious activity is born from fear. It is the ego's frantic response to the discomfort of uncertainty. It is the compulsive need to do something, anything, because the quiet of waiting feels unbearable. It is the energy of the fixer who believes every problem requires an immediate and forceful solution. Its signature feeling is tension. It is a should, a must, a have to. It feels like a burden, a pressure. It is the email you send because you fear being forgotten. It is the phone call you make because you cannot stand the silence. It is the constant busyness you create to avoid feeling an uncomfortable emotion. Anxious activity is like trying to build a fire with a pile of dry, papery leaves and twigs. It ignites with a dramatic flare. There is a great deal of smoke, a loud crackling, a show of energy, but it burns out almost instantly, consuming a vast amount of fuel and leaving behind very little warmth, very little substance. It is ineffective motion. It is stirring a pool of muddy water, hoping to make it clear. It only creates more chaos, more complication, and leaves you feeling drained, depleted, and often further from your goal than when you began. Now, let us turn to the anatomy of inspired action. Inspired action is born from stillness. It arises out of the fertile void you have learned to cultivate. It is the natural next step that becomes obvious when you are in a state of flow and alignment with the universe. It does not come from a place of fear, but from a place of quiet, confident knowing. Its signature feeling is clarity. It is not a frantic push, but a calm, powerful pull. It feels like a deep yes resonating from your soul. It feels light, even if the task itself is difficult. It is the phone call you make because a sudden, clear impulse arises within you. It is the project you begin because the idea arrives fully formed, filled with an energy that seems to flow through you rather than from you. It is the single, potent step you take after a long period of patient waiting. Inspired action is like a deep bed of hot coals. There may not be dramatic leaping flames. There is no loud, frantic noise. There is only a quiet, steady, immense glow. Its power is not flashy. It is profound, sustained, and deeply effective. An inspired action has the full force of the river behind it. It cuts through complexity like a hot knife through butter. Obstacles seem to dissolve in its path. Doors you thought were locked swing open effortlessly. It is action that is supported, that is graceful, that is amplified by the power of the universe. One single, inspired action is more potent and productive than 1,000 acts of anxious busyness. The inner conflict, of course, is that the anxious mind is a master of disguise. It is loud, persuasive, and an expert at dressing up its fear-based impulses as practicality and responsibility. The voice of anxious activity shouts, "You must answer that email immediately, or you will lose the opportunity." The voice of inspired action whispers, "Let it rest. The right words will come to you in the morning." The anxious mind screams, "You need to call everyone you know and network to find a new job." The inspired impulse murmurs, "Go for a walk in the woods, clear your head, Learning to trust the quiet whisper over the frantic shout is the discipline. This requires a new practice, a practice of discernment. Before you leap into action, especially when you feel a sense of urgency or pressure, you must pause. In that pause, you bring your awareness inward and ask yourself a few simple questions. First, what is the energy behind this urge to act? Use your body as the compass it is. Drop the question into your body. Does the urge feel like a tense, contracted knot in your gut or chest? Is it accompanied by a shallow breath and a racing heart? That is the signature of anxiety. Or does the urge feel like a calm, expansive opening in your heart center? Does it feel clear, clean, and steady? That is the signature of inspiration. Second, does this action feel heavy or light? Forget the pros and cons for a moment. Forget what you think you should do. Just weigh the pure feeling of the action itself. Anxious activity, even if it's something you want, will have an underlying feeling of heaviness, of efforting. Inspired action has a quality of lightness, of rightness, of grace. It feels like you are being carried by a current, rather than fighting against it. Third, and most revealing, am I acting to change how I feel, or because the action itself feels true? Anxious activity is almost always an attempt to escape an uncomfortable feeling, the feeling of powerlessness, of uncertainty, of not being in control. We act to soothe the anxiety. Inspired action has no such agenda. It arises from a place of peace. You are not acting to get to peace, you are acting from peace. The action itself feels resonant and true, regardless of the outcome. Your task is not to eliminate action, but to eliminate anxious action. It is to have the courage and the discipline to wait for the clear, calm impulse. The universe does not need your frantic help. It does not need you to solve its puzzles. It needs you to be a calm, ready, and willing conduit for the solutions it provides. It will give you the next step when it is time for the next step, and not a moment sooner. Your only work is to be present and listening, so you can recognize the impulse when it arrives. This redefines what a powerful and effective person looks like. It is not the person who is always rushing, whose calendar is full, who is constantly making things happen. The truly powerful person may often appear quite still. They have mastered the art of waiting. They do not waste their precious life force on the smoky, ineffective fire of anxious activity. They conserve their energy. They tend to the inner fire, the deep bed of coals. And when the inspired moment comes, when the universe signals that it is time to act, they move with a calm, focused, and devastating effectiveness that achieves more in a single hour than the anxious person achieves in a month. They are not fighting the river. They are waiting for the perfect wave, and they know how to ride it all the way to the shore. You are learning to move in harmony with the current. You wait for the calm, clear impulse of inspired action, and then you move. You take the step. You speak the word. You launch the project. But what happens when your inspired action leads to a messy result? What happens when the path forward, which felt so clear a moment ago, suddenly leads you into a thorny patch, a dead end, a situation that feels like a mistake? Immediately, the old voice of the inner critic rises up. It tells you that you have failed, that you have lost the flow, that you are not good enough at this. And here you meet a ghost that haunts the soul of so many, the ghost of perfection. Perfectionism is not, as it often masquerades, a noble quest for excellence. It is a prison built from fear. It is the deep-seated belief that your innate self is somehow flawed, and that you must spend your life creating a flawless exterior to hide this fundamental inadequacy. It is the fear that if people see your cracks, your stumbles, your imperfections, they will reject you. It is the ego's desperate strategy to avoid criticism and pain. This fear is a tyrannical ruler. It paralyzes you from starting new things, whispering that if you cannot do it perfectly, you should not do it at all. It steals the joy from the creative process, making every step a high-stakes performance to be judged. And it keeps you from being truly authentic, forcing you to wear a heavy mask of flawlessness that suffocates your spirit and keeps true connection at bay. We must challenge the very foundation of this belief. We must question the virtue of perfection itself. Look to nature, the purest expression of divine intelligence. Is the ancient, gnarled oak tree, with its twisted branches and scarred bark, imperfect? Or is it magnificent in its character, its history etched into its very form? Is the coastline more beautiful as a perfectly straight, computer-generated line, or as a jagged, intricate, and unpredictable dance between land and sea? Nature revels in asymmetry, in uniqueness, in the supposed flaw that creates character. The human obsession with straight lines, with sanitized, flawless surfaces, is a deep departure from the wisdom of life itself. Life is not neat. It is beautifully, wildly, and divinely messy. In the Japanese tradition, there is an art form called kintsugi. When a beautiful piece of pottery, a cherished bowl or cup, is broken, it is not discarded. To do so would be to see its story as over. Instead, the pieces are gathered with care. They are painstakingly put back together, but the cracks are not hidden. The cracks are illuminated. They are filled with a lacquer mixed with powdered gold, silver, or platinum. The result is a piece of pottery that is not just repaired but transformed. It is considered more beautiful, more valuable, and more resilient because it was broken. The golden seams become the most celebrated feature of the piece. They tell its story. They are a testament to its history, its survival, its unique journey. You are this piece of pottery. Your life will inevitably bring moments that feel like a shattering. There will be heartbreaks, failures, losses, and mistakes that seem to break you into pieces. The voice of perfectionism tells you to hide these pieces, to be ashamed of the cracks. But the wisdom of kintsugi, the wisdom of the universe, invites you to do the opposite. It invites you to see your scars, your vulnerabilities, and your so-called failures as your golden seams. These are the parts of you that tell your unique story. To embrace your imperfection is to take the liquid gold of self-compassion, of awareness, of wisdom gained through experience, and use it to illuminate your own broken places. It is to understand that you are not beautiful in spite of your cracks. You are beautiful because of them. This understanding allows you to reframe the entire concept of a mistake or a detour. In the divine design of your life, there are no wrong turns. There are only necessary lessons, unforeseen redirections, and sacred detours. The job you didn't get was not a failure. It was the universe protecting you from a path that was not for you and clearing the way for an opportunity you could not yet see. The relationship that ended was not a waste of time. It was a crucial curriculum your soul needed to complete in order to be ready for the love that was coming. The creative project that fell apart taught you a skill or revealed a strength that will be the cornerstone of your true masterpiece later on. The ego draws a straight line from A to B and calls it the perfect path. Any deviation from this line is seen as a failure. The soul understands that the path is not a straight line, but a beautiful meandering river. The turns, the bends, the moments it seems to be flowing backward are all essential parts of its journey to the ocean. The detour is the path. To trust this is an act of profound faith. It is looking at the tangled threads on the underside of the tapestry and trusting in the beautiful pattern being woven on the other side. The practice for this is a conscious shift in questioning. When an event occurs that your mind immediately labels as wrong, as a failure, as imperfect, you must interrupt the habitual response of self-blame. Pause, take a breath, and instead of asking, "Why did I fail?" or "What's wrong with me?" you ask a new set of questions. You ask, "What is the hidden gift in this situation?" You ask, "What is this experience teaching me?" You ask, how might this unexpected turn be redirecting me toward my highest good? You ask, if I were to trust that this is a perfect part of an imperfectly beautiful plan, what might that plan be? This is not about pretending to be happy about something that is painful. It is not toxic positivity. It is a courageous shift in perspective. It is an act of spiritual alchemy, searching for the gold within the lead. It is treating yourself with the same compassion and curiosity you would offer a beloved friend. You are applying the golden lacquer to your own fresh cracks. To embrace your imperfection is to finally give yourself permission to be human. It is to take off the heavy mask of flawlessness and to stand in the world in your authentic, messy, beautiful truth. Your quirks, your scars, your vulnerabilities, these are not liabilities. They are the points of connection. They are what make you relatable, what makes you real, and what allows others to feel safe enough to reveal their own beautiful imperfections to you. Letting go of perfectionism is a final, deep surrender. It is the release of the need to be anything other than what you are, right now. It is the understanding that you were never flawed to begin with. You are not a problem to be fixed. You are a masterpiece in progress, a unique piece of kintsugi pottery, being shaped and mended and beautified by the loving and sometimes shattering hands of life. Offer your beautiful, broken, golden-seamed self to the world. It is exactly what the universe has been waiting for. You have laid down the heavy burden of perfectionism. You have begun to embrace the beautiful, messy, and divinely imperfect path of your own life, seeing every crack and scar as a seam of gold. In this release, a vast amount of energy becomes available to you, energy that was once consumed by worry, self-criticism, and the fear of judgment. Now we arrive at a vital question: what is the highest use of this newfound energy? The answer lies in shifting your focus from the world of doing to the world of being. It is time to explore the most fundamental law of creation. Your vibration is your call to the universe. For many, this principle is known as the law of attraction, a concept often misunderstood as a form of cosmic vending machine. The superficial idea is that if you simply think positive thoughts, the universe will grant you your wishes. This has led to much confusion and disappointment because it is an incomplete truth. The universe is not a linguistic entity. It does not primarily respond to the words you speak or the thoughts you think. The universe is a vibrational entity. It responds to the frequency at which you are resonating, and the primary generator of your personal frequency is not your mind, but your heart. It is not your thoughts, but your feelings. Your emotional state is the music you are playing, and the universe, in its perfect harmony, can only send you experiences that match the key of your song. Everything in existence, from the chair you are sitting on to the farthest star, is energy. Everything is vibrating at a particular frequency. This is not mysticism, it is physics. Your thoughts are energy, your beliefs are energy, and most potently, your emotions are concentrated, powerful bursts of energy. When you feel a sustained emotion, be it joy, fear, gratitude, or resentment, you are broadcasting that emotional frequency out into the vast, resonant field of consciousness. And according to the most basic laws of energy, like attracts like, a specific frequency can only attract and be attracted to that which is of a similar frequency. The most powerful metaphor for this is a tuning fork. Imagine you are a living, human tuning fork. The emotional state you hold most consistently is the note you are playing for the universe. If you walk through your day feeling a deep, vibrating sense of lack and anxiety about money, you are a tuning fork that is ringing out the note of lack. The universe, which is a great resonance chamber containing all possible notes, has no choice but to respond in kind. It will activate other tuning forks that are also tuned to the frequency of lack, an unexpected bill, a missed opportunity, a feeling of financial constriction. This is not a punishment. It is a perfect, impersonal reflection of the signal you are sending. Now, imagine you are able to consciously change your note. Imagine you are able, through practice, to generate and hold the feeling of gratitude, of peace, of joyful abundance. You are now a tuning fork ringing out a completely different frequency. The universe must, by law, respond to this new signal. It will activate and bring into your experience people, ideas, and circumstances that are a perfect harmonic match to the note of gratitude and abundance. The outer world has not changed its laws. You have changed your broadcast. Here lies the deepest inner conflict and the most profound creative challenge. Many people hold a desire in their mind while holding the opposite feeling in their body. You may repeat the affirmation, "I am in a loving relationship," while your entire being is vibrating with the painful ache of loneliness. You may visualize wealth while your body is consumed by the tight, constricted feeling of poverty. In this scenario, which signal does the universe respond to? It always responds to the stronger, more dominant vibration. It responds to the feeling, not the words. Your subconscious, emotional state will always override your conscious, mental wish. The great work, then, is not to chase after the external manifestation. It is not to try harder or do more to find love or wealth. The great work is to close the vibrational gap within yourself. It is the sacred practice of generating the feeling of your wish fulfilled before it has arrived in your physical reality. This is the essence of faith. It is the ultimate creative act. This brings us to a practice of profound power. We can call it the practice of vibrational alignment, or simply feeling it real. Find your quiet space. Let your body relax and your mind grow still. Bring the intention you planted earlier into your awareness. Let's say your intention is to experience vibrant health. In the old way, you might visualize yourself running or eating healthy food. This is fine, but we are going deeper. Let go of the pictures. Focus only on the feeling. How would it feel in your body to be the embodiment of vibrant health? Feel it now. Perhaps it's a feeling of lightness, of electricity in your limbs. Perhaps it's a deep, calm strength in your core. Perhaps it's a feeling of clean, open energy flowing through you. Do not just think about this feeling. Generate it. Breathe it into your lungs. Let the sensation of boundless energy fill your cells. Let the feeling of deep, physical peace settle in your belly. Bathe in this emotional state. Inhabit it. For these few minutes, you are not a person wanting health. You are the vibrational signature of health itself. You are striking the tuning fork of your wish fulfilled. You are praying from the destination, not from the journey. This is not pretending. It is a conscious act of energetic creation. You are providing the universe with the precise vibrational blueprint of what you wish to experience. When you emerge from this practice, your task is not to worry about how it will manifest. Your task is to carry that feeling, that resonance, with you for as long as you can. The master key to this practice, the frequency that accelerates all creation, is gratitude. Gratitude is the vibrational signature of having already received. It is the ultimate statement of faith. To feel genuine gratitude for the health you desire, the love you are calling in, or the abundance you are creating before you see any physical evidence of itis, to send the most powerful and coherent signal possible to the universe. It is to say, thank you, for it is already done. This closes the energetic loop. It shifts you from a state of asking to a state of receiving. Your primary creative power does not lie in the actions you take, but in the vibrational state from which you take them. Your state of being is your constant, silent prayer to the world. Are you praying a prayer of anxiety or a prayer of peace? Are you broadcasting a signal of resentment or a signal of forgiveness? To become the master of your life is to become the conscious steward of your own vibration. It is to choose the music you wish to play. Stop shouting your desires at a universe you believe is deaf. Instead, become the quiet, potent, and irresistible resonance of your dream made real. That is a call the universe can never ignore. You have learned to tune your being, to consciously choose the vibrational frequency you broadcast to the universe. You have shifted your focus from the wearying work of doing to the powerful art of being. This is a profound stage of co-creation. But there is a further step. There is a deeper surrender. There is a state beyond even manifesting your own soul's intentions. It is the state where you move from being a co-creator with the universe to becoming a pure channel for the universe to create through you. This is the sacred journey of becoming the hollow bone. This concept, drawn from the deep wisdom of the Lakota people, represents the ultimate state of human potential. It is a radical departure from the ego's understanding of purpose. The ego wants to be the author. It wants to be the artist, the healer, the leader, the visionary. It wants its name on the finished product. It craves the credit, the recognition, the validation that comes from being the source of a great work. This desire for ownership, this need to be seen as the special doer, is the final, most subtle, and most powerful blockage to the divine flow. It is the last layer of mud that must be cleared from the channel. Imagine a bone, perhaps the wing bone of an eagle, that has been weathered by the seasons, cleaned by the elements, and hollowed out completely. It is strong in its structure, it has its own unique form and integrity, but its core is utterly empty. It is open at both ends. Because it is hollow, the breath of the Great Spirit, the sacred energy of the universe, can flow through it without obstruction, creating a clear, pure sound. This is the ideal for a human life. To cultivate a strong character, a sound vessel, but to become empty of the self-empty of our personal agendas, our obsessive opinions, our need to be right, our fear of being wrong, our desperate craving for approval. It is in this sacred emptiness that we become useful to the divine. Consider the flute. A master musician picks up a simple reed flute. She puts it to her lips, and a melody of breathtaking beauty fills the air, a song that can bring tears to the eyes and peace to the soul. Now ask yourself, did the flute compose that music? Did the flute decide which notes to play? Of course not. The flute is a hollow instrument. Its only job is to be so clean, so open, so true to its own form, that the breath of the musician can pass through it and be transformed into music. If the flute were filled with its own stuff, with dirt, with mud, with a belief that it knew a better melody than the musician, it would produce only a choked, discordant squawk. You are that flute. The universe is the master musician. Your ego, with its endless stream of fears, desires, and personal ambitions, is the mud. For years, you have been trying to play your own frantic, tinny tune, believing you were the musician. The journey of becoming the hollow bone is the patient, dedicated work of cleaning the instrument. It is the process of gently scooping out the mud of your small, separate self, so the magnificent breath of the cosmos can finally play its music through you. This calls for the resolution of our deepest inner conflict, the desire to be a star versus the yearning to be a servant. The ego lives for the spotlight. It wants to be admired, to be special, to be the center of the story. The soul, in its quiet wisdom, knows that its greatest fulfillment comes not from being admired, but from being used for a purpose that transcends its own small existence. Its deepest joy is found in service, in being a conduit for a love and creativity that is vaster than itself. To become the hollow bone is to consciously choose service over stardom. It is to find liberation in anonymity. It is to realize that the greatest honor is not to have your name in lights, but to be a clean, clear, open channel for the light itself. This sacred state is cultivated through a daily practice of dedication. It is a reorientation of your entire being. Upon waking, before the demands and agendas of the day rush in, find a moment of quiet. Sit and in your mind's eye, visualize your own body, your mind, your entire being, as a hollow tube, a clear channel of glass. See it as clean, open, and ready. Then, with conscious intent, begin to scoop out anything that would block the flow. Scoop out your anxieties about the coming day. Scoop out your desire for praise. Scoop out your fear of failure. Scoop out your stubborn opinions and your need to be right. Make yourself empty. Then, with humility and sincerity, you make the dedication. You offer the vessel. You can say the words silently or aloud. Today, I offer myself as an instrument. Let the wisdom of the universe think through me. Let the compassion of the universe speak through me. Let the creativity of the universe work through my hands. Let my actions be guided, not by my own small will, but by the will of the whole. Use me. This simple practice changes the entire energetic posture of your day. You cease to be a person who is trying to get something from the world, and you become a person who is available to give something to the world. You are no longer asking, "What can I achieve today?" You are asking, "What wishes to be born through me today?" When you live from this place, your life begins to take on a magical quality. The writer sits at the blank page and, in a state of flow, feels as though the story is telling itself, the characters speaking their own truths. The therapist, sitting with a client, finds the perfect healing words emerging from her mouth and has no idea where they came from. The entrepreneur, stuck on a problem, goes for a walk, empties his mind, and a brilliant, elegant solution arrives in a flash of insight, whole and complete. These are not just moments of good luck or genius. These are moments of being a hollow bone. They are moments when the limited, personal self got out of the way and a greater intelligence was allowed to operate. This is the ultimate surrender. It is a level of trust that transcends even your own highest intentions. It is the understanding that the universe may have a plan for you that is far grander and more beautiful than any plan you could have conceived for yourself. It is the final dissolving of the illusion that you are separate. You are not a lonely musician trying to be heard in a silent world. You are the instrument, the musician, and the music itself. To become the hollow bone is to realize that your greatest purpose is not to make your mark on the world, but to allow the world to make its sacred, beautiful mark through you. You have learned to become the hollow bone, the clean flute, the empty vessel. You have discovered the profound power in making yourself available for a wisdom greater than your own to flow through you. And in this deep surrender, a potential misunderstanding may arise. You may begin to believe that your role is to become passive, a mindless puppet whose own desires, dreams, and choices no longer matter. This is a subtle trap of the spiritual ego, a distortion of the truth. The ultimate goal is not to be erased. It is to be invited into the most sacred relationship imaginable, to see the universe as your co-creator. Human consciousness tends to fall into one of two traps regarding its own power. The first is the trap of the ego tyrant. The tyrant believes, "It is all up to me." They carry the full weight of creation on their own shoulders. They must force every outcome, control every variable, and work themselves to the point of exhaustion, believing that if they stop pushing for even a moment, the entire world will collapse. This is a life of immense stress, anxiety, and profound loneliness. The second is the trap of the spiritual pawn. The pawn, often in a misinterpretation of surrender, believes, "It is all up to the universe. My choices don't matter." They abdicate all responsibility, waiting for life to happen to them. This leads to a state of passivity, resignation, and a quiet sense of powerlessness, where faith becomes an excuse for inaction. The path of the co-creator is the razor's edge that runs directly between these two illusions. It is the synthesis that holds both truths at once. Your will is vital, and you must surrender it completely. You are a powerful creator, and you are a humble vessel. To live in this paradox is to live in grace. The relationship is not one of a master and a slave. It is one of divine, intimate partnership. The most beautiful metaphor for this partnership is a dance. Imagine you are on a dance floor with a partner of infinite grace, wisdom, and power. This partner is the universe. To create a beautiful dance, you cannot both be leaders, nor can you both be followers. A masterful dance is a fluid, breathtaking exchange of initiation and response. You, as the human partner, might initiate a turn, expressing a desire, an intention. The universe, your divine partner, does not block you. It responds to your initiation, meeting your energy and adding its own spin, its own flourish, transforming your simple turn into a movement of unexpected beauty. Its response then creates a new opening, a new possibility, which it offers back to you. It is now your turn to respond to your partner's lead, to take the inspired action, to flow with the new direction. If you are a limp, passive partner, a spiritual pawn, dance is lifeless. Your divine partner has nothing to respond to. If you are a rigid, controlling partner, an ego tyrant, you try to force every step, stepping on your partner's toes, resisting their guidance, trying to make them conform to a routine you memorized. The dance becomes a clumsy, graceless struggle. The magic only happens when both partners are fully present, fully engaged, and fully trusting of each other's wisdom and skill. It is in the interplay, the synergy, the shared creation, that the divine dance comes alive. In this partnership, it is crucial to understand your respective roles. Your role as the human partner is specific and vital. You are the vessel of unique, focused desire. You are the one who feels the spark of a new idea, the yearning for a particular experience. Your job is to get clear on the essence of what wants to be created through you. It is to clarify the what and the why. You are here to dream the dream. It is also your role to be the hands and feet of the partnership in the physical world, to tend to your vibrational state, and to take the inspired actions when you are guided to do so. The universe's role as the divine partner is equally specific. Its domain is the how, the when, and the form. Your mind, as brilliant as it is, can only see a handful of possible paths to your desire. The universe sees every path. It has the master blueprint. It can see the infinite web of connections between all things and all people. Its job is to orchestrate the vast, complex symphony of circumstance and synchronicity. It aligns the chance encounters. It opens the unforeseen doors. It arranges the resources in ways your logical mind could never conceive. Its creativity is boundless, and its timing is always perfect. Your relationship is a sacred contract. You do your part, and you trust your partner to do theirs. This is not pleading or begging for favors. It is a confident, joyful collaboration between equals. You bring the gift of human perspective and intention. The universe brings the gift of divine intelligence and infinite organizational power. To make this partnership conscious and tangible, you can engage in a practice of co-creative dialogue. This can be a form of meditation or a journaling practice. You begin by clearly stating your part of the agreement. You might write or say, "To my divine partner, the universe. My contribution to this creation is this clear intention. It is the dream of describe the dream. The feeling I wish to embody is describe the feeling joy, peace, security. I commit to keeping my own energy clear. I commit to listening for your guidance and to taking the inspired actions you show me without hesitation. This is my part. This is my sacred yes." Then you consciously hand over the rest. "And now, I lovingly release to you, my partner, all the parts that are yours. I release the how this will come to be. I release the when it will arrive. I release the final form it will take. I trust your infinite wisdom and your perfect timing. I am open to this. or something even better that you have in mind for me. Show me the next step when it is time. Your part is accepted with my deepest gratitude and trust. Making this agreement explicit is a powerful act. It calms the anxious ego that feels it must figure everything out. It solidifies your trust and transforms your relationship with the unknown from one of fear to one of exciting anticipation. Life ceases to be a solo performance under a harsh spotlight and becomes a creative adventure with your most trusted friend. Obstacles are no longer seen as failures, but as playful prompts from your partner. You learn to look at a challenge and smile, asking, "All right, I see what you did there. What beautiful move are we going to create out of this?" To live as a co-creator is to be in a constant state of relaxed readiness. You walk through your days with the profound peace that comes from knowing you are not alone, that you are supported, and that the most powerful force in existence is on your side, working with you, for you, and through you. The final goal of the dance is for the separation between the dancers to disappear. You and the universe begin to move as one. You are no longer a self trying to get something from life. You are life itself, dancing in a joyful, endless, and breathtaking expression of its own becoming. You are now in the divine dance, a co-creator with the universe. You have learned to listen, to trust, and to take the inspired actions that arise from the stillness. You complete an action, you send the email, you publish the art, you have the conversation, you launch the business. The action, born of flow, feels pure and true. But in the moment immediately following the action, a new and subtle form of bondage arises. A hook is cast from your heart into the future. The ego, quiet during the flow of creation, reawakens and asks its anxious questions. Will they like it? Will it succeed? What will happen now? Will I be rewarded? Will I be rejected? In this moment, your peace, which was so profound in the act itself, becomes conditional. It becomes a hostage to the future, to 1,000 variables over which you have no ultimate control. This is the final and most subtle chain we must learn to break, the attachment to the fruit of our labor. Our entire culture is built upon this attachment. We are taught to act, not for the intrinsic value of the action, but for the reward it will bring. We study to get the grade, we work to get the paycheck. We are kind to get approval. We create to get applause. This makes our inner world a volatile and terrifying place to live. Our emotional state becomes a ship tossed on the waves of external circumstance. When the signs are promising, we are filled with elation and hope. When an obstacle appears, we are plunged into despair and fear. We grant the world outside of us complete power over the world within us. This is not freedom. This is the most refined form of imprisonment. There is an ancient and profound teaching, a key to unshakable peace, found in the sacred text of the Bhagavad Gita. It states, "You have a right to your labor, but not to the fruits of your labor." Let us sit with the incredible liberation in that statement. It is not a call for apathy or for shoddy work. It is the exact opposite. It is a call to pour your entire being, your full presence, your deepest love and excellence into the action itself. Because the action is the point. The work is its own reward. The process is the prize. The external results, the fruits, the praise, the money, the success, the failure are not your concern. They belong to the universe. They belong to the flow. Your only domain is the integrity and presence of your action. Consider the sun. It rises each morning and pours its light and warmth upon the earth. It shines on the rose that will be admired in a garden, and it shines on the weed that will be pulled from the pavement. It gives its energy freely, without condition, without judgment. The sun does not check later to see if the crops grew successfully. It does not withhold its light from the parts of the earth that are ungrateful. It does not shine in order to get something in return. The sun shines because it is its nature to shine, its glory, its purpose, its entire being is fulfilled in the magnificent, unconditional act of shining. Your work, your sacred action in the world, is meant to be like this. You are meant to shine your unique light, to give your unique gift, simply because that is your nature. This brings into focus the conflict between the artist and the merchant who live inside each of us. The true artist, the creator within, finds a timeless, transcendent joy in the act of creation itself. When the artist is at work, they are in a state of flow, lost in the process, one with the medium. They are not thinking about the gallery opening or the critics' reviews. They are simply in the divine dance of bringing something new into being. But the merchant is always there, looking over the artist's shoulder. The merchant is anxious. The merchant is calculating the potential profit, worrying about the market, comparing the work to others. To live with attachment to the outcome is to allow the anxious merchant to run the studio of your soul. True freedom, true joy, is to honor the artist, to create for the pure love of creating, and to politely but firmly ask the merchant to wait outside the door. Your dharma is your sacred work, your unique and rightful action within the co-creative dance. The ultimate fulfillment in life is not found in the rewards you get for doing your dharma, but in the act of doing it with your whole heart. If you can find your peace and your joy in the work itself, then you are invincible. No external outcome can ever touch you. If you receive praise, you can accept it with grace, but your worth is not dependent on it. If you receive criticism, you can listen for any truth it may contain, but your spirit is not crushed by it. If you make a fortune, you can steward it with wisdom, but your security is not derived from it. If you lose a fortune, you remain secure in your own being, because your treasure was never in the outcome, it was in the alignment of the action itself. This requires a conscious practice of release. It is a ritual to be performed after any significant action where you feel your ego hooking into the result. After you have sent the email, submitted the report, had the difficult conversation, completed the creative work, you must perform the sacred release. Take a moment, be still, close your eyes, bring the action you have just completed into your mind. Acknowledge it. See that you have done your part. You have shown up, you have been present, you have given your best in that moment. Then, in a gesture that is both physical and energetic, open the palms of your hands and turn them upward. Imagine you are placing the entire outcome of that action, all the potential successes, failures, reactions, and rewards into your open hands. Feel its weight, and then, with a conscious breath, offer it up. Visualize yourself lifting your hands and releasing it all into the great, intelligent flow of the universe. As you do this, you can affirm, silently or aloud, I have done my part. The rest is not mine to control. I release the outcome completely. I surrender the fruits of this action. I trust in the perfect and divine unfolding of all things. Feel the energetic cord of anxiety being severed. Feel your hook being released from the future. Feel your consciousness returning to the only place where peace exists, the present moment. This is not an act of giving up. It is an act of profound trust in your divine partner. It is telling the universe, I have fulfilled my role in the dance. Now, I trust you to fulfill yours. This is the key to living a life of both profound peace and startling effectiveness. When you are not afraid of failure, you can take bold, courageous risks. When you are not desperate for success, you can create with a purity and authenticity that is magnetic. You become a free agent, an unbound creator, acting from love, not from need. You become like the sun. You show up, you shine your light, you give your gift, and then you let it go, trusting the great mystery in its entirety. This is the final liberation. This is the joy of a life lived as a sacred offering. You are learning to release your attachment to the fruits of your labor, offering your work to the universe and finding peace in the act itself. This is a profound freedom. And now, the universe invites you into its most advanced, intimate, and often most challenging classroom, the classroom of your relationships. Having learned to detach from the outcomes of your actions, you must now learn to see the divine design in your interactions with others. For no person enters your life by accident. Every soul you encounter is a messenger. Every relationship is a mirror. The fundamental illusion that governs our lives is the illusion of separation. We perceive ourselves as isolated islands of consciousness and other people as separate, distinct islands. From this perspective, our emotional interactions are seen as a series of external events. If someone's words make you angry, you believe the anger came from them and was delivered to you. If someone's presence brings you joy, you believe they are the source of that joy. But this is a misunderstanding of the deepest kind. Other people are not the source of your feelings. They are the catalysts that reveal the feelings already living within you. They do not create the weather inside you. They simply cause the existing weather to become visible. The most powerful metaphor for understanding this is the mirror. Imagine you wake up in the morning and look in a mirror. You see a smudge of dirt on your cheek. What is your reaction? Do you get angry at the mirror? Do you accuse it of being dirty? Do you try to wipe the smudge off the mirror's surface? Of course not. You instantly understand that the mirror is not the source of the smudge. The mirror is a neutral, valuable tool that is providing you with crucial information about your own state. You are grateful for the information and you use it to clean your own face. The people in your life are living, breathing mirrors. Those who trigger you the most, who irritate you, anger you, frustrate you, or even those whom you deeply admire and idolize are your most powerful and important mirrors. They are not showing you who they are. They are showing you a direct, unfiltered reflection of a part of yourself that needs your attention. To spend your life blaming others for your emotional reactions is the equivalent of spending your life trying to wipe the smudge off the mirror. It is a futile, frustrating, and endless task. The path of wisdom, the path of flow, is to have the courage to thank the mirror for the reflection and then to turn your attention inward to your own face. Let us learn to decode these reflections. When you feel a strong negative charge towards someone, annoyance, judgment, anger, it is a sacred clue. Let's say you are infuriated by a colleague's arrogance. The immediate, conditioned reaction is to focus on them. They are so arrogant. They have no right to be so confident. The mirror practice asks you to pause and to turn the question inward with radical honesty. Where in my own life do I exhibit arrogance, perhaps in a more subtle way? Or, even more deeply, where in my life do I suppress my own confidence for fear of being seen as arrogant, and so their freedom triggers my own feeling of being caged? Often, what we judge most harshly in others is a shadow quality that we have disowned in ourselves. Their arrogance might be mirroring a deep wound in you related to not being seen or heard, and their behavior is simply pressing on that tender, unhealed place. The mirror works in the positive as well. Consider the people you deeply admire, perhaps even feel a sense of envy toward. You see someone living a life of creative freedom, and you feel a pang of longing. The ego will interpret this as, they have something I don't. I am less than them. This is a painful illusion. The mirror is not showing you what you lack. It is showing you what your own soul is yearning to express. The person you admire is a reflection of your own dormant potential. Their freedom is a loving call from the universe to activate the freedom that already exists within you. To idolize them and place them on a pedestal is to deny that you are looking at a reflection of yourself. This reframes the entire experience of being triggered. In our usual understanding, a trigger is a negative event to be avoided. We try to construct our lives in such a way that our triggers are never pulled. But in this new understanding, your trigger is your treasure. It is a divine signpost, a flashing red arrow pointing directly to the next piece of your own inner territory that is ready to be healed and integrated. When you feel that charge, that emotional heat, the wise response is not to push the other person away, but to get quiet and whisper to yourself, "Ah, here it is, a gift." The next piece of my work has been revealed. The practice for this is a simple internal inquiry. When you feel that strong emotional reaction toward another person, the first step is always to pause. Interrupt the habitual pattern of blame or judgment. Take a breath. Second, identify the specific quality. What precisely is triggering you? Get as clear as you can. Is it their perceived laziness, their loudness, their victim mentality, their success? Name it. Third, turn the mirror. Ask the potent questions with a spirit of gentle curiosity, not self-flagellation. What is this showing me about me? Where is the root of this charge within my own inner world? What unhealed part of my past is this person's behavior touching? In what way is this person a messenger sent to deliver this specific lesson to me now? And fourth, the most transformative step of all, gratitude. In your heart, silently thank the mirror. Thank this person for being the perfect catalyst, for agreeing on a soul level to play this role in your life in order to help you see yourself more clearly. This act alone can dissolve the energy of conflict and transform an adversarial relationship into a sacred alliance, even if the other person is unaware of the shift. This is why relationships are often called the most accelerated path of spiritual growth. You can meditate on a mountaintop for years and maintain a sense of peace, but it is in our daily interactions with our partners, our children, our colleagues that our practice is truly tested. These relationships are relentless mirrors. They do not let us hide. They show us where we are still hooked, where we are still wounded, where we are still not free. By engaging in this practice, you begin to take 100% responsibility for your own emotional state. You reclaim your power. You realize that no one outside of you has the power to make you feel anything. They can only reveal what is already there. This is the path to true intimacy. When you stop using other people as a screen upon which to project your own inner dramas, you can finally begin to see them as they truly are. And even more beautifully, you can finally begin to see yourself. You no longer need to wipe the mirror. You are too busy and too grateful for the work of washing your own beautiful face. You are learning to read the mirrors of your relationships, to see every interaction as a sacred opportunity for self-discovery. You are taking responsibility for your own emotional world, no longer blaming the mirror for the reflection it shows you. As you master this, you arrive at the next great gateway of freedom. It is one thing to learn from the mirror. It is another thing entirely to release your need for the mirror to smile back at you. This is the profound, liberating work of dissolving your need for external validation. From the moment we are born, we are wired for connection, for belonging. In our ancient past, survival depended on the approval of the tribe. To be ostracized was a death sentence. This deep, primal need for approval is etched into our very DNA. But in our modern world, this survival mechanism has mutated into a chronic, low-grade anxiety. It has become a hungry ghost that we are constantly trying to feed. We look for it everywhere. In the praise of our boss, in the number of likes on a social media post, in the agreement of our friends, in the approval of our partner and family. Our sense of self-worth becomes a fluctuating stock price, rising and falling with the unpredictable market of other people's opinions. To live this way is to be a weather vane on a rooftop. The weather vane is exquisitely sensitive. It dutifully and instantly responds to every shift in the wind. When the wind of public opinion blows from the north, it points north. When the breeze of a compliment wafts by, it spins with delight. When the gale of criticism roars, it whips around in a panic. The weather vane has no direction of its own. Its entire identity is a reflection of the forces acting upon it. It is a slave to the wind. For many of us, this is how we live our lives, constantly turning, shifting, and adjusting our true selves to align with the ever-changing winds of external approval. It is an exhausting, inauthentic, and deeply powerless way to be. The journey of awakening is the journey from being the weather vane to becoming the mountain. A great mountain is not indifferent to the weather. It is intimately connected to it. It feels the wind. It receives the sun and the rain. It is shrouded in the clouds and battered by the storm. But its core, its fundamental mountainness, is never in question. Its immense, grounded presence comes from within. It is rooted deep in the earth, and its peak points to the sky, not because the wind tells it to, but because that is its nature. The mountain's validation is its own existence. It does not need the valley to approve of its height. It does not need the clouds to praise its majesty. It simply is. This is the state of true spiritual sovereignty. The unshakable peace you are seeking will never be found in the eyes or words of another person. It can only, and will only, ever be found in the center of your own being. The only validation that has the power to set you free is the deep, quiet, resonant feeling of alignment within your own soul. When you know, in a place beyond words, that your actions, your words, and your way of being are true to your own integrity, that is the only yes you will ever need. The approval of the entire world cannot touch the power of this inner alignment, and the disapproval of the entire world cannot diminish it. You become your own source. This brings into focus the inner conflict between your authentic self and your inner people-pleaser. The people-pleaser is a terrified diplomat, constantly trying to negotiate peace treaties with the entire world. It waters down your truth. It silences your controversial opinions. It says yes when it means no. Its primary goal is to avoid conflict and maintain external harmony at all costs, even at the cost of its own soul. Your authentic self, however, is a quiet sovereign. It is not aggressive or loud. It speaks its truth with kindness and compassion, but it does not apologize for its existence. Its primary loyalty is not to the opinions of others, but to the whisper of its own inner wisdom. To live a life of joy and purpose, you must learn to transfer your allegiance from the terrified diplomat to the peaceful sovereign. The practice for this is an inner alignment check-in. It is a way to find your own true north before you look for directions from anyone else. Before you take an action about which you feel anxious, before you post the article, give the presentation, make the parenting decision, state your truth in a relationship, you must pause. In this pause, close your eyes, place a hand on your heart or your belly, take a deep breath, consciously visualize yourself turning down the volume on all the imagined voices of the outside world. Mute the voice of your inner critic. Mute the voice of your demanding boss, your disapproving parent, your skeptical friends. For just a moment, let their opinions become irrelevant noise. Now, in this inner quiet, tune into the frequency of your own being. Ask your soul, your body's compass, a simple question. Does this action feel true for me? Let go of the need for a right or wrong answer. You are listening for a feeling. Regardless of the outcome, regardless of the applause or the criticism, is this in alignment with my own integrity? Is this the next right step on my path? Learn to trust the subtle signal that comes back. It will not be a loud, booming voice. It will be a quiet sense of yes or no. An aligned yes feels like an opening, a warmth, a sense of peace, a quiet hum of rightness. A no feels like a closing, a tightness, a sense of unease. This inner signal is your validation. This is the only permission you ever need. When you begin to live from this place of inner authority, your relationship with both praise and criticism is transformed. When praise comes, you can receive it graciously, like the mountain receives the warm sun. But you are not dependent on it for your warmth. You are not addicted to it. You can enjoy it as a gift, without it becoming the source of your self-worth. And when criticism comes, you become bulletproof. Not because you have built thick armor, but because you realize the criticism is not aimed at your true self. It is aimed at the world's perception of you, which is something you can never control. You can listen to the criticism from a place of grounded security. You can ask, is there any valuable information here for me? If there is, you can take it on board without it shattering your core. If there is not, you can let it blow past you, like the wind blowing past the mountain, without it shaking your foundation. This is the freedom you have been seeking. It is the end of the exhausting performance of trying to be what others want you to be. It is the beginning of the joyful, peaceful, and powerful experience of simply being who you are. Root yourself in your own truth. Let your validation come from the quiet, unshakable knowing in your own heart. Stop being the weather vane and start being the mountain. You are learning to stand as the mountain, sourcing your validation and your truth from within. This is the seat of sovereignty. From this place of profound self-responsibility, we can now approach one of the most powerful and misunderstood laws of the universe. It is a concept shrouded in fear, superstition, and guilt. It is the law of karma. To step fully into your power as a co-creator, you must strip away these distortions and see this law for what it truly is. Not a system of cosmic punishment, but a perfect, impersonal, and deeply compassionate feedback loop. In the common understanding, karma is often imagined as a great celestial accounting system. There is a divine judge with a ledger, meticulously recording all of your good deeds and your bad deeds. A good action earns you a positive mark, leading to a future reward. A bad action earns you a negative mark, destining you for a future punishment, perhaps in this life, perhaps in another. This view turns the universe into a courtroom and God into a judge. It casts you in the role of a perpetual defendant, forever on trial, burdened by the guilt of your past and riddled with anxiety about your future. This is a human projection, born of our own primitive systems of crime and punishment. The universe operates on principles that are far more elegant, scientific, and liberating. The true nature of karma is best understood through a simple metaphor, the echo. Imagine you are standing on the precipice of a vast, silent canyon. The canyon has no opinion of you. It is a neutral, magnificent presence. If you shout into the canyon with a voice full of love, "I love you," what happens? The canyon does not judge your words. It does not decide if you are worthy of love. It simply, faithfully, and perfectly reflects the energy you have sent into it. It echoes back, "I love you." If you then shout a word of anger or hatred, the canyon does not become offended. It does not seek to punish you for your negativity. With the same impersonal perfection, it echoes back the energy of anger and hatred. The canyon is not a moral agent. It is a feedback mechanism. It is designed to let you hear, with perfect clarity, the quality of the sound you are making. Karma is the echo of the soul. The universe is the great canyon. The thoughts, intentions, words, and actions you send out are the sounds you make. The circumstances and experiences that return to you are the echo. The universe is not rewarding you or punishing you. It is providing you with a perfect reflection of the energy you have broadcast so that you may come to know yourself and the nature of your own creations. It is a deeply compassionate educational system designed for the evolution of your consciousness. Its sole purpose is to teach. How can you truly understand the dissonant, painful quality of deceit until you have experienced its echo in your own life? How can you fully appreciate the beautiful resonant quality of generosity until its echo has returned to warm you? The universe is not doing this to you. It is doing this for you. This understanding requires a radical shift in perspective when you are faced with life's challenges. The ego, trapped in the punishment paradigm, responds to difficulty with the question of a victim: why is this happening to me? What did I do to deserve this? This line of questioning is rooted in fear and powerlessness. It presumes a punishing God and a guilty self. The awakened co-creator, understanding the law of the echo, asks the question of a scientist or a student: this is interesting. This experience has the energetic signature of betrayal, or this situation feels like abandonment, or this event is filled with chaotic confusion. The next question is not one of blame, but of curious self-inquiry. Where have I, perhaps unconsciously, been sending out this same energetic signature? Where have my thoughts been untrustworthy? Where have I abandoned my own inner truth? Where have I been creating confusion with my words or actions? The goal of this inquiry is not to find a specific past sin to feel guilty about. That is just returning to the old punishment model. The goal is to recognize a vibrational habit. The feedback is rarely about a single thing you did, but about the energetic state you have been being. When you recognize the pattern, I see that for months I have been living in a state of resentment, and now I am experiencing situations that feel resentful. You have gained the golden key. You have understood the echo. With this understanding, you are empowered to change your experience. You are no longer a victim of a karmic debt from a past you cannot remember. You are not doomed to pay for your mistakes forever. The echo is not a permanent recording. It is a live reflection. The moment you change the sound you are making, the echo begins to change. The point of power is always, always now. In this very moment, you can choose to broadcast a different frequency. You can consciously choose to cultivate the energy of forgiveness, of integrity, of peace. As you begin to send out this new, clearer signal, the law of the echo dictates that a new, clearer reflection must return to you. You can change your karma in an instant by changing your state of being. This is the practice. Learn to read the karmic feedback. When life brings you an experience, whether joyful or painful, pause. Step back from the story, the drama, the temptation to blame yourself or others. Ask, what is the essential energy here? Identify the vibrational quality of the event. Then, with compassionate curiosity, look within for the source of the original sound. Acknowledge it without judgment. I see now that I have been creating from this place of fear. Then, make the conscious course correction. Having heard this echo and understood its lesson, I now choose to create from a new place. I now choose the frequency of trust. This is true power. It is taking 100% responsibility for your experience, not as a burden of guilt, but as an act of creative mastery. Fear karma no more. See it for what it is, a neutral, elegant, and loving law of reflection. It is your greatest teacher, your most honest mirror, your divine diagnostic tool. It is the universe holding up a perfect echo to your soul so you can hear the song you are singing. Listen to the echo, learn from it, and then, with the full power of your sovereign co-creative self, choose to sing a more beautiful song. We have journeyed far, through the shadowed valleys of the mind and up the steep inclines of self-awareness. We have sat with the silence, confronted the echo, and wrestled with the ghost of who we thought we were supposed to be. And now, after the fire of transformation, after the cleansing flood of acceptance, we arrive at the shore of a new way of being. This is not a destination, but a different quality of movement, a different rhythm of breath. We have come to speak of living in a state of grace. Forget everything you have been told that grace is. Forget the idea that it is something to be earned, a reward for good behavior, or a prize for spiritual accomplishment. Grace is not a gift bestowed from an outside force for your piety. It is the natural state of a being that has ceased to fight itself. It is the atmosphere that surrounds a soul that has aligned with its own truth, and therefore with the truth of the universe. It is the effortless exhale after a lifetime of holding your breath, waiting for permission to simply be. This is the culmination of our work, the result of letting go, the consequence of choosing trust over fear. Think of the night sky, a vast, silent, infinite canvas of dark velvet. Upon it are scattered countless stars. Do you imagine that a star strains to shine? Does it worry that its light is not as brilliant as a neighboring sun? Does it compete with the moon or feel diminished by the passing of a comet? Number. The star does not try to shine. It simply shines. Its shining is not an effort. It is an expression of its fundamental nature. It is a star, and so it radiates light. Its existence and its expression are one and the same. To live in a state of grace is to become like this star. It is to understand that your unique light, your core essence, does not need to be forced or fabricated. It needs only to be allowed. For so long, you have been trying to be better, trying to be stronger, trying to be wiser, trying to be more spiritual, more successful, more loved. This trying is the oar against the current, the source of all exhaustion. It is the ego's frantic belief that it must control the ship, that without its constant, desperate effort, everything will fall into ruin. Grace is the moment you realize the river has its own wisdom. Grace is putting down the oars. It is the recognition that the very energy you expend in resistance is the energy that could be used to illuminate your own being. When you cease your struggling, when you stop trying to be anything other than what you are in this moment, a profound shift occurs. You do not become passive. You become a conduit. The power of the universe, the same intelligence that spins the galaxies and sprouts the seed, begins to move through you without impediment. This is not a force you command. It is a current you join. Challenges will still arise. The river of life will still have its rapids and its whirlpools. Living in grace does not mean a life free of difficulty. That is a fantasy of the ego. It means that when the rapids come, you meet them with a new posture. You are no longer a frantic rower fighting the water. You are the water itself, flexible, adaptable, and part of the flow. You develop a deep, unshakable trust that the current is carrying you exactly where you need to go, even if the direction is frightening or unexpected. You face challenges not with anxiety, but with a quiet, inner knowing. A power that is not your own, yet is accessible through you, rises to meet the moment. This is the essence of co-creation. You are no longer a solitary soldier fighting a war against reality. You are a dancer, moving in perfect rhythm with life itself. This state is your birthright. It is the memory of your own soul before the world told you that you were not enough. It is the peace that resides beneath the noisy surface of the mind. To access it, you must be willing to disappoint the part of you that thrives on drama and struggle. You must be willing to be still. You must be willing to trust the silence more than the noise. You must value the simple, profound act of being over the complicated, exhausting act of doing. Look at the stars again. They are a silent orchestra, each playing its part in a cosmic symphony. They are not striving, they are simply being. They are held in the vast, intelligent embrace of the universe, secure in their position, contributing their unique light to the magnificence of the whole. You are one of these stars. You are held in the same embrace. Your only task is to cease your resistance and allow your own innate light to shine. This is not an act of arrogance, but an act of ultimate surrender. It is the understanding that your light is not yours alone. It is a facet of the universal light, expressed through the unique prism of you. To live in grace is to be at home in the cosmos, to know your place in the grand design, and to finally, peacefully, be. It is to find your position in the great constellation and to contribute your light, not because you must, but because it is who you are. The universe does not ask for your struggle. It asks only for your light. It asks only for your presence. It asks only that you be. And so we return to the river. We see the rower, the same one from the beginning of our journey. But he is not the same. In the beginning, his muscles were knotted, his face a mask of strain and desperation. He fought every eddy, cursed every crosswind, his eyes fixed on a distant shore he could barely see, a destination he believed held all the answers, all the peace he craved. He was at war with the water beneath him. Look at him now. The oars are no longer in his hands. They rest inside the boat, silent and still. The boat itself is not anchored. It is not stagnant. It is moving with a gentle, certain momentum. The man is not straining. He is leaning back, his hand trailing in the cool water. He is not looking at a far-off destination. His eyes are soft, gazing at the way the sunlight dances on the ripples, at the shape of the clouds drifting above. He does not know the exact name of the port he is heading towards, and for the first time, he does not need to know. He can feel the rightness of the current. He can feel the wisdom in the flow that carries him. And on his face, there is a smile. Not a smile of triumphant victory, but a smile of serene, profound relief. A smile of homecoming. This entire journey, this long walk through the inner world, was never about forging you into someone new. It was never about adding layers of knowledge or spiritual accolades. It was always about subtraction. It was about the patient, courageous act of unbecoming everything you are not. It was about peeling away the layers of fear, the armor of the ego, the expectations of others, and the weight of your own past, until you arrived at the luminous, untouchable core of your true self. The self that was always there, waiting beneath the noise. The power you sought was never something to be found outside of yourself. It was not a treasure to be hunted or a fortress to be conquered. It was a wellspring, deep within, waiting for you to simply allow it to flow. Your work is not to create the power, but to remove the dams that block it. Your journey is not to become worthy, but to remember that you were born worthy. The strength you need for any and all of life's challenges is not something you must build, it is something you must permit. Permit it to rise. Permit it to guide you. Permit it to be you. The universe is not something outside of you. It is breathing through you, right now. The only question is, are you breathing with it? And so, we return to the man in the boat, to the river that mirrors the flow of our own consciousness. We first met him as a warrior, his body tense with the effort of fighting the current. His jaw was set, his gaze locked on a distant horizon, convinced that peace was a destination to be conquered. Every muscle was a testament to his struggle against the world he found himself in, every stroke of the oar a declaration of his will against the will of the water. But the man before us now is a different being entirely. The oars are at rest, lying useless within the boat. They are relics of a former war. His hands, once clenched, are open. His body is relaxed, yielding to the gentle rock and sway of the vessel. The boat is not still. It moves with a silent, unerring purpose, guided by a wisdom that has no need for frantic effort. He is being carried. He has surrendered not to defeat, but to a power infinitely greater than his own limited strength. He is no longer scanning the horizon for an endpoint. His attention is here, now. It is in the feeling of the sun on his skin, the sound of the water lapping against the hull, the vast, open sky above him. He has discovered that the paradise he was fighting to reach has been present all along, in the simple, profound reality of the moment. The journey's purpose was never to arrive at a specific shore. The purpose was to learn how to let go of the oars. This is the ultimate lesson. This entire pilgrimage into the self was not an exercise in construction. It was an act of excavation. You were not building a new identity. You were dismantling a false one. Layer by layer, you have been invited to let go of who you were told you should be, so that you could finally experience who you truly are. The essence of your being was never broken. Never lost, never insufficient. It was merely buried beneath the weight of fear, conditioning, and the belief that you had to struggle to be worthy. The strength you have been seeking is not a prize to be won. It is the very ground of your existence. It is not something you must create, but something you must allow. It is the river itself. Your only task is to stop fighting it, to remove the blockages of resistance and doubt, and to let it carry you. This is the final homecoming, the return to the truth that was always waiting. The universe is not something outside of you. It is breathing through you, right now. The only question is, are you breathing with it?